Good day to you, and welcome back because we've got action for you. It's incredible times again on the Race All-Star Series, fully charged by Rocket phones, and we are at the Nürburgring this week, the mecca of motorsport, I would say. I know there's some people that might suggest the UK or Silverstone is the home, but I love this track, and I love the atmosphere around it. My name is Matt Trivet, again, joined by Julian Palmer. Julian, you've been to this track.
I have. It's a great track. I didn't go very well there, so I don't love it. But it is a great track. The Nordschleife is a legendary track. The Nürburgring racetrack, very good. Has been a Grand Prix track. Not my personal favorite.
Yeah, it's built to different standards than the North Loop. Certainly is. But yeah, I think it's underrated because it gets overshadowed so much. Nonetheless, great place for a sim race. And we've got tons of actions. The Legends Trophy coming up. That's everyone's favorite, I think. There's tons of drivers online as well as the pro drivers and the sim drivers. We'll take a look at some of them now because we're self-isolating. And hey, so are they. They're at home in their the comfort of their pajamas and who knows what else below what the webcam can see, but the comfort of their sim rigs, Julian. And anyone that jumps off the page here for you, because we've got our usual suspects again.
Yeah, I mean, it's the title decider for this first part of the series, or the first championship, really. So Mike Epps' top middle is going to be interesting for the pro drivers as far as they're concerned, where we've got three drivers all neck and neck in the points. Erhan Yayovsky, in terms of the outright championship, I mean, he's the man to beat. 2 out of 2 so far. Seems to love this car, and I think so long as he makes the final, then he's really well placed.
Well, and you've nailed it, because this is the final of the championship series, the third week of it. We've got 7 races coming up. We'll take a look at the schedule just now. Right, we've got 7 amazing races coming up for you today. And for those of you not familiar with the All-Star Series, fully charged by Rocket phones, we do 2 things within one. We've got races made up of real-life pro drivers, the best sim drivers in the entire world, and the Legends Trophy, which is 2 races. The first of which is for $10,000 to a charity of the winner's choice. And then the second, which is about 2.5 hours from now, is a reverse grid, all for fun. As for the series itself, we divide 40 real-life racing drivers over 2 races in what is the pro driving category, and then it's the best of the sim world. The top 5 of each of those races go straight through to the All-Star Series final, the All-Star Cup, and the real drivers get to take part in the Jones Soda Last Chance qualifier. That comprises our 20 drivers. Eventually, that narrows us down to the 20 best on the day, and we play for points in the championship. And the championship is what it's all about. You touched on it, Julian. It's one driver leading the way in the sim world. It's Yayovsky that's been dominant. 2 wins from 2 starts so far in this LMP3 car. It's really about who can catch him, and I think you're right. The qualifier is important. If he makes it through that, it's tough to see anyone maybe stealing away enough points to do it. Bono Huis is close. We'll look at the championship standings now, because the pro drivers in this race also have a lot to play for. It may not be the overall championship per se, based on the numbers that we have on screen, but there's $30,000 for charity up for grabs for them. Keep in mind as well an F1 sim test for the winner of the sim drivers. So yeah, 3 drivers. You touched on it. Chavez, Epps, Gunther, all on 37. Gutierrez, 33, and Lind. Yeah, I'll give him a chance on 28.
Yeah, he's not out of it. I bet Dennis Lind is massively regretting that little bit of contact he had at Sebring a couple of weeks ago, because without that, he'd be right with Chavez, Epps, and Gunther as well. Gutierrez is in this. He's been consistent throughout. So really, the pro drivers title is absolutely up for grabs. I mean, it would be a brave man to call it right now. As we can see, the sim drivers is more runaway for Erhan Yayovsky, who's had a back-to-back wins. But both Wisniewski in second and Bono Huis, they're not out of this, actually, because the sim heats are so tough. They're so competitive that if Yayovsky might not even make the final. And we've seen big guns already dropping out from that sim heat, the third heat. If Yayovsky doesn't make the final, he's going to lose a huge amount of points, and he might not win.
Well, and that's the key, because Rudy Van Buren obviously didn't make the final last week. The week before he was taken out, he was a favorite coming into it. So anything can happen. And you're right. I forgot to mention Wisniewski. He's in a good spot as well to capitalize should that happen. I mentioned it as well, though. We do have our Legends race again. I should say all, but most of the big names in motorsport, both past, present, and very much right now, right here, are with us again today. They'll be back in the McLaren M23. And I believe Emanuele Pirro is standing by. He's been a star of this series, so we hopefully can get a chance to chat with him. I'm waiting to see if we will.
There we go. Nasty messages if it doesn't work out.
Can you hear me, Emanuele?
All right. Thanks.
You there? Hello. How are you, Mr. Pirro? You've had an excellent series so far with us. Way back from the second week, you were solid at Silverstone. You always feature. I love your setup in the camping chair. How are you feeling there this week?
No, I feel good, and believe me, I feel a young kid now. This e-gaming has given me an incredible boost, and thank you for setting it all up. I'm racing with really good friends and true legends, and I just cannot believe I'm doing and we are doing, and I hope the fans will enjoy it.
Oh, I think the fans have enjoyed your race, the Legends race, the most of any. It's been super entertaining. How are you feeling so far on Nürburgring? Because a bit different track than the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but Nürburgring is my favorite track. Everything went well in my life, but just the track is so difficult in the sim. And to be quick, you always have to be out of control. So I have even more respect for Jensen. I think he should have won more than one championship because he drives so well. And but you know, it's difficult to put one lap together. Turn one, it's incredibly tight. So let's fingers crossed. But just for the people who are listening, whatever happens, I think nobody's doing it on purpose. Whatever happens is all accidental.
You say that now. I'll hold you to it later. We'll see how it goes.
Also on behalf of the others, not only me.
All right, fair enough. We'll keep up. Hey, listen, thanks so much for doing this. It's been a blast, and good luck today.
Thank you. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Well, that's perfect. I love that he's prefaced that. It's totally accidental, guys. I swear. I just missed my breaking point. We've got the rest of the lineup. Juliana, you've been around some of these guys growing up, and it's certainly been watching them in the motorsport world through your lifetime. Raced against a few of them, in fact. Who are you looking at today? Because there's been a few people that have definitely made their name known.
Yeah, I mean, Jensen Button has been really, really quick since he's turned up. So, yeah, I raced him in 2016, and I was teammates in 2016 with Jan Magnussen's son, Kevin, and the two of them had one of the best sim races that I've watched last time out. So I'm expecting those two to be probably the class of the field. Juan Pablo Montoya has been really quick as well. He won the reverse grid race last time. These guys are getting better and better all the time. And it was interesting, Emanuele clearly really loving what he's doing here. He's doing a really good job. He's been quick from the off, but it has been quite chaotic. And he's actually been in the wars a lot. I remember the first time he took pole, the first time he had a Legends race, got biffed off by Montoya, claimed all South Americans were crazy after, I can't remember the other man that hit him in
it was one. Montoya.
It was, yeah. And then since then he's been the victim of some as well, and he's been the aggressor.
You said you didn't love Nürburgring. Pirro did. His results were great there. We're going to take a look at the track now. So you can talk us through this because you've got more experience there than I do. Sure, I've got some in sim, but you've got both, I assume.
Yeah, not so much in sim, to be honest. But so it's a different version of the Nürburgring we're going to have today. We had it for the original, the first All-Star battle when the Melbourne Grand Prix was called off. We had Nürburgring, but it's a slightly different version this time. And that basically cuts out part of the start of the lap, and it changes the chicane as well at the end.
Well, it opens it up for a little bit more flow. So it should be exciting. It's a bit quicker, bit shorter lap in some ways without the arena. We're very close to getting into the action. And with that, we've got to send it to a break. When we come back, we'll get into qualifying. Right, and we've got a little bit of time now with the online crowd, so we've got some on board of the track, actually. So as you say, it is a little bit different. We don't have the arena section, and we've got the touring car chicane as opposed to the GP Formula chicane. Talk us through this, because there's quite a bit of, I think there's a hidden rhythm to this track that some people don't find right away.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I was probably one that didn't find it, to be honest, Matt. But here we go. So this is going to be the main overtaking place, down at turn 1. Little lock up there from whoever we're on board with in the McLaren M23. And there you see, instead of doing the long left-hander at turn 2, it's straight into basically a chicane of 1 and 2. And then we're coming to the old sector 1 split here, which pretty much fires us into the Grand Prix loop that we're all more familiar with. So that first part I think is going to be really interesting. Some good overtaking chances, long straights, big braking zones. It's the perfect recipe.
It is. I think it's a great recipe, and like you say, sure, the Nordschleife is legendary, but this is essentially, this layout is part of the 24-hour race that includes that loop. It just obviously cuts back onto the main straight, and they do it all again. The M23, great car. It looks actually pretty stable around here, and it's not nearly as bumpy as what we had at Lime Rock, so maybe it won't be as ridiculous to try and control. A little more overtaking opportunities as well. That was something we saw. Obviously, Button and Magnussen, phenomenal race. There wasn't a lot of overtaking throughout the day, really, at Lime Rock.
No, this is going to be another chance here. The straight that we're on now, the back straight. So the chicane that we're about to come into to almost complete the lap is going to be a bit quicker than what we're used to. Normally we go left there, but now we fling it high speed. Really easy to make a mistake there, and a big oversteer as well in the M23. So it's a really nice flowing track. The final corner there, really not massive overtaking place, but crucial because it gives you the run down for this straight, which is critical. Nice flowing track. The middle part of the lap is exactly the same as the Formula One part. Just the first part and the last part different. Overtaking will be good. I'm confident of that. After Lime Rock, good track, difficult to overtake.
Well, we've got the legends, obviously, in those M23, but another real-life driver joining us in the LMP3 car is Nick Hamilton. He's been doing a lot of sim as of late, and obviously sponsored by Rocket Phones as well this year, waiting for the British Touring car to get back underway. Nick, how you going so far on Nürburgring?
Yeah, not too bad, bud. I haven't had as much practice out as I would have liked, but yeah, I'm in fully VR tonight, so it's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, looking forward to it.
You find it really sweaty in the VR goggles? I find I'm drenched when I get out of those.
Yeah, for sure. It gets hot, but it's almost like wearing a helmet, which is nice. So you can always look to the apex. So yeah, I'm going to see how I get on tonight. But these guys are super fast, so it's going to be an interesting one for sure.
Prior to this, how much sim had you done before this whole sort of lockdown, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of development work for Project Cars. I did Project Cars 1 and 2, but that was mainly just work. I never really put myself into the sim. I didn't do any iRacing stuff. And yeah, just fully developing the game. So I haven't actually done sim racing for a good 4 or 5 years. So yeah, getting back in the seat and trying to do it properly and minimize a bit of testing. I've done not too bad, but yeah, I mean, it's a bit of fun, keeps me out of trouble, and it's something to do during the period of time that we're in.
Yeah, very cool. In fact, I was in the Bahrain Grand Prix with you. I may or may not have smoked you going into pits in qualifying. Sorry about that.
That was you.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry, I didn't know collisions were on.
5-place grid penalty, so
I did, yeah. Hey, listen, best of luck today.
Cheers.
Well, thanks very much. And with that, and we get back underway because qualifying is just around the corner. Our pro race number 1 coming up. And Julian, obviously there's a lot to look forward to in this race, but the pro racers have the most to play for in terms of the championship in many ways.
Yeah, it's just so close. We've still got all the pressures of a normal championship, basically. 3 drivers tied on points at the top. Esteban Gutierrez not far off as well. Dennis Lind, who's been the quickest sometimes, is still in contention. And they've got to make it through to the final. That's where the big points are. They get another little bite of the cherry with the Jones Soda last chance qualifier. But you wouldn't want to bank on that right now with the championship at stake.
No, I don't think you would. Speaking of the championship, we've got to bring in the voice of a champion who will be accompanying you for all of this commentary. Jack Nichols is joining us now. Jack, you've seen all this go down. It's been a ton of fun, I'm sure, from your perspective as well. But looking forward to this one? I can't quite hear Jack at the minute, so hopefully, let's see if he can figure it out.
Yeah,
He's got a lot.
I unmuted and now we're good.
Got a lot
Good
going
with
on
this
over
technology,
there.
aren't I? Yeah, so as I was saying, I said some great stuff, but I can't remember what it was now. But yeah, it was. It's great that the championship is going to mean something. You know, the first couple of races we had these sort of battles and one-off showpiece events, and they were great. But now, can Hanyayovsky wrap up the title? Can Gabby Chavez win the pro driver title? I mean, this is sort of what it all comes down to. And these are the drivers that are going to be in the pro race.
Yeah, and the pro race is where we start, so we'll focus on that first. Here's the lineup for race number 1. Tons of British guys in there, of course, but Yifei Yi's been pretty surprising. Michael Ben-Yahia is not too far off of it as well. Again, Jack, who's kind of your one to watch in this race? I think Epps maybe.
Yeah, Mike Epps. He's the one, really. He's the one in title contention for the professional racers. So you've got to keep an eye on him, quite frankly. What can he do? He's been in the wars a little bit, especially at Sebring. Then he was much more clean and tidy last time out at Lime Rock. What can he do here at the Nürburgring? The Zansho SimSport driver is very, very impressive.
Well, we've got our ones to watch as well, and Epps is naturally in that for all the reasons you just said, the championship context and table and his standings. Michael Ben-Yahia is the one that's close enough to him in this race to maybe make some gains. British GT4 driver, obviously comes from Morocco. Jillian, you've been watching him progress throughout. Does he have a chance at it, maybe?
He's definitely got a chance to make the final here. I think Epps, I completely agree. He's been very, very strong since he turned up in this series. But I think Yifei Yi is going to be in with a shout of getting through as well. Harry Tincknell was improved last time out. That'll be interesting. But yeah, Ben-Yahia, he's been getting better and better with every week. And I think I kind of expect him to make the top 5 this time.
All right. Well, I think qualifying's straight underway, so we're not going to waste any time. I'll let you two take it away and get into it.
Thank you, Matt. Good afternoon, everybody. The Race All-Star Series, fully charged by Rocket Phones, is underway. And this is the man, Mike Epps, who in the pro drivers standings is right in the fight. He's currently 5th in the championship, joint level on points with Gabby Chavez and with Max Gunther. There you can see Epps in the bottom left-hand side of your screen as he shifts up through the gears and then through this incredibly quick left-right. The commitment you have to chuck in here and bounce over those curbs and try not to cut as well, because you go one wheel over and your lap time's going to be disqualified. So let's see what Epps can do. We're looking for, I reckon, a mid to high 1 minute 35. Here comes Epps across the line now. Whoa, a 1 minute 35.1. 7/10 quicker than Galal and Bradley Smith. That's a big lap straight away, Jolyon, from Mike Epps.
Yeah, I think that's going to be that done, really, isn't it? Well, I don't think we're going to see more than one lap from anyone here, which we did see at Lime Rock last time out with the lap being shorter. Here we're into pretty much double the lap time, basically, 1 minute 35. So I think that's going to be it. And that was a corker of a lap from Mike Epps. Hooked it all up, smashed it.
Here now is Michael Ben-Yahia, the other driver we were looking at. Michael Ben-Yahia is in the bottom right, isn't he? That's who we're on board with as he comes into the right-hander and then out across the line. But it's Harry Tincknell that we're looking at in the big picture as he comes out onto the back straight, kicks up the gravel a little bit. Such a tricky corner to get right, that run onto the back straight as he comes up now. He's... has he made a mistake in the middle sector? It says he's 4.2 seconds down in the middle sector, so I think Tincknell may have had a little bit of drama. Ben-Yahia coming out of the final corner now to come across the line. We'll see where the Moroccan goes. There he is in the bottom left. Ben-Yahia goes 5th. Oh, it's Tincknell bottom left, my apologies. Tincknell across the line, and 4.6 seconds down. So it must have been a mistake in sector 2, because he was only 2/10 down in sectors 1 and 3 respectively. That would have put him in with the rest of the pack. But Mike Epps has dominated that one. Job van Uytert in the end across the line to go 4/10 slower. Yifei Yi gets a second lap in and is only 0.4 of a second away, but Epps has smashed it.
Yeah, that still stands, really. I mean, just with a few seconds to go, Job van Uytert and Yifei Yi jump up the leaderboard to be 2nd and 3rd. But yeah, Epps one lap and knocked it out of the park. Half a second pretty much still to Yifei Yi. But he's got the race start to do now and actually convert this.
So, Mike Epps will be on pole position for the first race of the day. Yifei half a second adrift in second place. Job van Uytert in third spot. Sean Galal fourth. Bradley Smith in fifth. Ben Yahir could only manage sixth place. Kevin Hansen in seventh place. The young rallycross racer Daniel Rowbottom in eighth spot. He's the driver with no name, by the way, if you see him out there on the screen, because he hasn't put a space in between his first and last names. Martin Plowman ninth and James Pull in 10th position as we get ready for this race to get underway. Johnny Adam, Harry Newey as well. He was quite quick actually in the last race, wasn't he, in Lime Rock, but quite a way away here.
Yeah, he was quick, but a little erratic in the races. But I'm looking forward to seeing both him, Harry Newey, and Harry Tincknell from 12th and 13th. I think they've both got more pace than they've qualified, particularly Tincknell, who, as you said, was good through 2/3 of the lap, but obviously just made a big mistake, lost over 4 seconds in the middle sector. So he should be on a charge. And as we said earlier, I think this track, hopefully, fingers crossed, will lend itself nicely to some overtaking.
So cars on the grid, ready for the first race of the Race All-Star Series, fully charged by rocket phones. And can Mike Epps, one of the championship leaders in the pro class, advance straight through to the final? That's what he needs to do if he wants to wrap up the 3-week title today, because this is where it all comes down to the wire. And he is going to be starting on pole position. Yifei alongside him on the front row of the grid. Job van Uytert in third. Sean Galal in fourth position in the black and yellow LMP3 Le Mans prototype car. Bradley Smith in fifth. Michael Ben Yahir in sixth. Kevin Hansen in seventh. Daniel Rowbottom starts in eighth position on the grid on this shortened version of the Nürburgring track. Martin Plowman is ninth. James Pull is 10th. Johnny Adam in 11th place. Harry Newey down in 12th position. See what sort of gains he can climb up the order with. Harry Tincknell 13th after a mistake in the middle sector, and one must assume that Lachlan Di Francesco and James Headley also both made errors. Cars on the grid. Epps on the right in the yellow car. Yifei on the left in the green car. Job van Uytert and Sean Galal are on the second row of the grid. 5 advance straight through to the final. The revs rise and the race gets underway. It's a lot of wheel spin for Epps. The car twitches a little bit, but he just manages to get over and move in front of Yifei. Bradley Smith going to the outside of Sean Galal on the run down into the first corner. And there's the look up the inside from Job van Uytert. He might nick second position here, but Yifei has the inside for the second part of the corner. And it is Mike Epps who gets away in the lead. All sorts of carnage on James Headley's view in the bottom right. But it is Epps in front, in second. Van Uytert third, Plowman fourth, and bit of a nudge there as they come into, I guess, what is now turns 4 and 5 and down towards the hairpin, but Epps has got his lead.
Yep, that was a perfect job, really. Got a good enough start and just covered the inside, really. Yifei didn't have any other option but to try and hold on to second place from Job van Uytert. Here's a move down the inside for Bradley Smith on James Headley. Bit of bumping and bashing through that hairpin all round. But Bradley Smith, by hook or by crook, makes it through. He's probably another one that is disappointed with his qualifying. So let's see if he can make any further progress. Yeah,
Bradley Smith running in 9th position then, as we look at him there. And there's a few moves to the left and to the right further back, but nothing going on too much further back as it stands. Mike Epps is 0.6 of a second ahead of Yifei, with Van Uytert third, Plowman fourth. Bradley Smith running in 9th place. Daniel Rowbottom is in 5th place. So he made a good move because I think he qualified in 9th or 10th position. So he's climbed up the order well at the start as we watch Bradley Smith coming through that fast chicane at the end of the lap.
Yeah, already making a little bit of a gap to James Headley now. Oh, contact from 2 ahead. James Pull and Johnny Adam maybe, or Sean Galal dropped down. So that's 2 more places for Smith. Here's a move from Plowman maybe on Rowbottom.
Rowbottom trying to keep Plowman behind, but I don't think he's going to be able to. Looks to the outside, but he's going to rapidly run out of road before he runs into the road on the old Grand Prix loop, or the new Grand Prix loop, I should say, and has lost out to Kevin Hansen in that as well.
Hansen in a bit deep there, and that's Rowbottom into the wall. So that's gone from bad to worse for him there. Smith goes through up to 6th, and that was... Hansen went in a bit deep, but Rowbottom basically just hit him. So it was it was Hansen moving back to open up the right-hand side, and Rowbottom with momentum hitting the rear of him there.
Oh, there's a replay of Harry Newey getting Coultharded. Was it Coulthard and Alonso up there? I can't quite remember what happened. Oh, and then he's come back onto the circuit and had a collision. So that's gone from bad to worse for Harry Newey as well.
Yeah, I feel like he might have gained a few places and then basically binned off James Poole as he rejoined there. So I think James Poole will be pretty miffed about that one. But yeah, that I don't remember if it's Coulthard Alonso or what. I don't really remember that reference, to be honest.
He brake tested him coming into this chicane, or Coulthard accused him of brake testing him or something in the Renault and the
what
McLaren.
happened? They flew over one flew over the back.
No, they didn't fly over, but he took evasive action and ended up in the gravel.
Ah, yeah.
No?
Maybe it rings a
Nothing?
bell. Not massively. Hey, hey.
There we go. Right, over the line to start lap 3 of 5. Mike Epps' lead is up to 1.4 seconds. This is Johnny Adam in 9th place under big pressure from Michael Benyahir in 10th position. Benyahir tries to find the inside. Adam thought he had that covered, I think, but Benyahir finds it and is up into 9th place. You can see Johnny Adam on the inset in the bottom left as they come through that huge drop away at turn 1. And Benyahir makes the move. He's up into 9th place. At the moment, it's Kevin Hansen, who is in 5th position, just behind Martin Plowman in 4th position. And they are the last two that would advance straight through to the final as it stands. But what will Bradley Smith have to say about that?
I'm really enjoying this track layout, by the way. Here's Hansen quite a lot deeper on the brakes than Martin Plowman at the hairpin. But yeah, this track layout, that the last chicane is going to be harder for overtaking, but that first chicane is nice for a switchback move or a bit of side-by-side action. I always thought turns 2, 3 and 4 are a bit sort of nothingy on the traditional Nürburgring. You can never really overtake, you can never really do too much through them. So this chicane down at 1 and 2 is leading to some lovely racing for now. Smith is within a second of Hansen as well, so that's going to be the battle with a couple of laps to go for the top 5 places.
Thank you to MG Katravinsky on the YouTube chat, who said it was the 2003 European Grand Prix with Alonso and David Coulthard. So there we go. Epps across the line now to start lap 4 of 5. 2 seconds up the road from Yifeyer. This is a commanding drive from Mike Epps. You see him sort of rise in the seat as he bashes the brake pedal and sort of pushes himself a little bit higher in the seat. Fascinating stuff. Daniel Rowbottom in 7th place here, under pressure from Lachlan De Francesco. He goes to the inside, De Francesco, but he's too far back to do anything there, although he's going to be massively compromised, Rowbottom, coming out of turn 2. No, not really. That's why you're the driver expert.
Well, to be honest, I don't think De Francesco made the most of that. He should have had a better line through turn 2, but didn't really manage to close up on the exit. So I think you were kind of right, but it didn't materialise how I thought either. But yeah, so where are we up to for the top 5? De Francesco, someone's just dropped down out of that. Oh yeah, you can see in the top of the corner a car rejoining off the track there. It's Rowbottom, isn't it? Who's tumbled.
It's Rowbottom.
So that elevate, he had a great start, and it's just really got away from him in this race because he was actually in the top 5 battling with Martin Plowman early on. But the battle then, Hansen now only 4/10 ahead of Bradley Smith, who's always been about the cusp of making the final in these heats and has been a good last chance qualifier. If he doesn't, he's basically back in there as well. He's got 3/10 and 1 lap to try and make that move on Kevin Hansen.
Kevin Hansen, well, he's only 2/10 of a second in front, isn't he? As they come, in fact, they're right together coming through the chicane. The battle for 5th place and the final point-scoring position as Bradley Smith tries to bop his way past Kevin Hansen down the start-finish straight towards turn 1. They're both closing in a little bit on Martin Plowman. We're on board with Bradley Smith into the first corner. This is the first race of the day in the race All-Star Series, fully charged by rocket phones. He's gone in deep there as Hansen and Bradley Smith tries to get his way through. Can't get the drive out of 2, and Hansen holds the place. Final lap of the race, the top 5 go through to the final. If you're 6th or lower, you've got to go through to the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, Hansen just placed actually frustratingly on the apex again. Bradley Smith has a little look on the inside, can't make it through there. That would be a pretty bold one from there, but now he's got a chance into this hairpin for a bit of a lunge potentially.
Does he fancy it? He does! Up on the grass and smashes Hansen out of the way. That was a rallycross move from Bradley Smith on rallycross star Kevin Hansen. So Smith up into 5th place. Has Hansen got enough left in him to try and make a move on the final lap? This is what happened to Daniel Rowbottom down in 12th place. Whoop, there he goes.
Ran wide on the gravel, lost traction and a simple spin to the inside. I quite like that move from Bradley Smith. Very aggressive, right up towards the grass on the inside, but late on the brakes, and he was clean up the inside when they had contact side to side as Hansen turned in. So good move. To be honest, maybe Hansen should have seen that coming for the crucial 5th place on lap 5 out of 5.
But here comes Mike Epps through the final corner, and he is going to take the win. A commanding drive, 3.3 seconds up the road from Yifei. Job van Uytert finishes in 3rd position, and Plowman is just going to finish 4th ahead of Bradley Smith in 5th. So those are the top 5 that advance straight through to the final. Epps with the win, Yifei in 2nd, and Job van Uytert in 3rd. This is the replay of that move. It's a robust one.
Ah, it's a beauty. That's an absolute beauty. And I think Kevin Hansen moved a little bit in the braking zone as well, which actually made it more sketchy than it was lined up to be. I think he shifted slightly to the inside, and basically Bradley Smith had to take a bit of avoiding action whilst lunging on the inside. Love it.
So here's a look at the results of the first race. Mike Epps, Yifei, Job van Uytert, Martin Plowman and Bradley Smith all advanced through to the final. Everybody else will have to go into the Jones Soda last chance qualifier. And I think we can now speak to our race winner. Is that Mike Epps?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we can hear you. How you doing? That was easy, wasn't it?
I wouldn't say that. I've put a lot of laps in. I've done a good 100 and something laps earlier today and yesterday, trying to get fast around here, and seem to have cottoned onto it so far. So yeah.
How many laps do you normally do? Because you're usually a front runner. So because the title's on the line, have you stepped it up a bit in terms of effort?
Yeah, well, anyone who's in sim racing will know every different simulator program you use has a slightly different feel to it. And with R Factor 2, I find I need to put a few more laps in than normal to get up to speed. There's just a few unorthodox things that you seem to have to do to go quick. So I just put the time in, get down to that time. I even use a bit of data. I've got Motec data, so I use the files off of that to actually do data analysis in between sessions and everything. There's so much you can actually do with sim racing outside of the actual program as well. So I've been using that and found a few little tricks to go quick, and it's paid off at the moment until we get to the final where all the sim boys are ahead of me. So
cool. Well, best of luck for the final. Mike Epps is straight through, but next up we're going to have the first Legends race.
Heck of a first race, as it always is. Mike Epps, absolutely the class of the field. Looked awesome. Incredible that he's put in something like 150 laps already. The reason I mention that is the drivers don't actually know the track until yesterday about this time. So he's put a lot of laps in a pretty short space. And I love that he's using data, because I know a lot of the pro guys are doing the same thing. They're using all the Motec and throttle sensors and brake points and pressure. It's incredible how much you can actually do.
It's the best way to make up time, basically, when it's the same in reality. You know, you got to look at the data, see where you can find a bit of time and piece it all together. There's no surprise, really, that they're doing the same on the sim. So, and these are the frustrating things for the likes of Mike Epps, Stoffel Van Dorn, Gabby Chavez, the guys that have been really quick, Max Gunther as well. They need just a little tiny bit more to get on terms with those sim drivers, and it's the best way to find it.
Yeah, because you can't just watch it. You can't just watch and see it. You think, oh, well, I'll watch a lap on board with one of the front-running sim drivers. They're doing exactly the same. They're doing every corner in the same gear as you. They're braking at the same point as you. But the differences are so minute, you've got to be looking at the data.
Well, one person who's got a pretty impressive rig that we get the chance to take a look at is Harry Tincknell, who showed us around his space today.
Hi guys, Harry Tincknell here, isolating in my flat in southwest London. Luckily for me, I got my simulator just in time, so come and have a look at my setup. Now, I'm not particularly techie guy, But luckily, one of my fellow factory Aston Martin drivers, Charlie Eastwood, and his company CE Sports has set me up with this fantastic bit of kit. We've got the triple curved screens, and they're all 144 Hertz, so highest definition. We've got the SimiCube Direct Drive 2 motor and steering wheel. We've got the Hurstgeweld pedals. We've got Sparco gaming chair, and the whole rig was all delivered for me, ready to press play and go. So yeah, really been enjoying racing the All-Stars trophy. It's almost like starting my career again, to be honest. When I first started, the level's incredible, racing against the pro sim guys. They're unbelievable. Obviously some huge names from the real world driving as well. Yeah, it's been tough, but lucky last weekend for me. Persevered, got my first final appearance, finished third in the heat. Massively looking forward to it. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on an online race soon.
It's about as good as it gets. I mean, aside from maybe an all-in sport, there's not much better than that setup. The SimiCube 2, one of the best direct drive wheels. The Hurstgewelds are amazing pedals. But as he says, he still needs to get up to speed. It goes to show you gears, not everything. He was in the wars in the first race. Poor James Pole got taken out by Newey, who rejoined awkwardly, and Tincknell, who rolled back into him. And James, I went over to his stream just to see his attitude. He was not happy about it. So we'll see if he can get through the last chance qualifier.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive setup, though, I have to say.
I think the thing I find in sim racing, it's so weird. Everybody gets obsessed with the setup, but then we see Stoffel Van Dorn turn up with his Logitech G29 and does the job, you know. And I think that's what a lot of the Legends drivers are finding, is they can buy all this gear, but then you've got Emanuele Pirro looking quick on a fishing chair and a TV on a shoebox and a G27. So there comes a point where actually it is about the driver more than the gear still.
Absolutely, and I think that's true. I think you could give me anyone's setup, and you'd probably still beat me like Jacques Villeneuve on a controller. Speaking of being fast, okay, well, we were going to judge something in. We're going to bring it back from break. When we do, we're going to get into the Legends Trophy, and it's going to be a pretty remarkable battle. This is the one everyone wants to see, and we'll get there in just a sec. And welcome back to the Race All-Star Series, fully charged by Rocket Phones. We're getting ready to get into the Legends race. We're not going to waste any time. We've got our 5 first real drivers through to the final, but this is where the excitement has been. And I have to say, Jack and Julian, I've seen some practice times, and I think 2 seconds divides the whole field. We'll take a look at the lineup again now to remind everyone. One person I want to give a shout out to, Petter Solberg, joins us again. Had a rough first week, but now he gets a chance to redeem himself and actually experience the race properly.
Yeah, he had a dodgy week because of us knocking him out of qualifying. But Jensen Button and Jan Magnussen have got to be front runners. Had a chat with Jan Magnussen for the Race Esports podcast, which you can download for all podcasting things. That had a chat with him, and he was buzzing for that. Jensen Button, a front runner and a winner. He's going to be right at the front for this one too. Dario Franchitti looked as though he might be getting back in the mix after winning the first race and then subsequently dropping away in pace a little bit. Don't tell him I said that. So really looking forward to this.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget as well that we've got 2 to watch, to look at, and certainly there's been a number of people that have been entertaining. Tony Kanaan and Andy Priu. You mentioned Kanaan. I just want to point out quickly before we get into them, it's $10,000 to the charity of the winner's choice for the first race, guys. But this is a good little battle. I think Priu's getting faster and faster.
He started off quite quick, to be honest, in the early round. Silverstone, I think he was maybe on the podium or fighting for it. But he's been very consistent, Andy Priu. And Tony Kanaan as well has been solidly there. I think last time at Lime Rock, he was on for his podium until he dropped it on about the last lap.
I think he collided with Max Papis, a back marker.
Oh, yeah, that's what happened there. But he didn't drop it all on his own. So he's got the talent to be on the podium, as has, I still think Juan Pablo Montoya is one to not be ruling out of this. He won the reverse grid race. Wait, what's that face for, Nichols?
You love him. I've said this before. We'll be at some Grand Prix somewhere in a commentary box, and Palmer's just, all he does is show me Juan Pablo Montoya YouTube videos. He loves the guy.
Well, I love the racing, so hopefully this will be just as good, guys. Qualifying's underway, and it looks like Jensen Button's on track.
Certainly is, in that Braun liveried McLaren M23 from the early 1970s, or mid-1970s, I should say. Swinging through the left and the right up at the Schumacher S's at the top of the hill. And Button, as you can see on the inset, hammering on the brakes, fully focused and barely blinking, actually. He hasn't blinked yet in the whole time we've been watching him. Look at that, that's remarkable. Maybe he'll have a little blink on the back straight.
Yeah, he did.
No.
He had one blink. I've seen it.
Got a cheeky one in. Oh, there was one.
No.
Saw that.
You wouldn't want to be against him in a staring competition, let alone this Legends qualifying. He's looking pretty good as well. Jenson Button into the final corner. Little wiggle as he comes off the curbing to turn in. Don't want to turn him from the curb because you're not going to get as much grip on there. But here he comes across the line. We're going to get a benchmark time. And it's a 1 minute 34.3 for Jenson Button. So that's a pretty quick time.
Yeah, it's not quite as quick as Emanuele Pirro, though, who has just missed out or has just edged Button. Jourdain goes up into 3rd place. Thiago Monteiro goes into 7th spot. Jan Magnussen only in 8th position, although he might get time for another lap, you know, because Button might as well, because they started the lap a couple of moments ago, so they might be able to sneak in a second. Here comes Dario Franchitti, currently running in 15th place. They've got, is that the first time he's raced with his helmet, I think, this race? Because it certainly looks striking.
I don't think Franchitti's going to get a lap in, though. He said he was on an out lap, and there's only a minute to go, and normally we time out rather than the usual finish the lap that you're on with the checker flag going. Jan Magnussen should get this one in, though. He will get this one in with no mistakes. So let's see what he can do. The winner last time out, just a few corners to go and a long straight after this section. Nice little oversteer through the left. This corner's critical because it leads onto a really long straight that you can see now. And Magnussen, neat and tidy, didn't use all the road on the exit. And he's pretty close through the middle sector. He's lost a good chunk through the first sector, though, by the looks.
Here he comes then up into the chicane. Jan Magnussen really sliding the car through that quick left and right, and then trying to keep off the curbs on the outside, waiting to get back on the power, out across the line. What can Jan Magnussen do? He's 8th at the moment. Does he improve? Button goes pole. Magnussen goes 3rd. Button beats Pirro by 0.003 of a second. Darren Turner out across the line in his Leighton House liveried McLaren and cuts the timing beam. But Jenson Button has sealed pole position, I think, for the Legends Trophy first race of the weekend. And a great drive from Button. So Jenson Button takes pole. What a lap right at the end there. So close, 0.003.
Yeah, and maybe not an unexpected man to be on pole, but 0.003 around the longest lap that we've had for a while. It just shows how competitive this is getting. I mean, Matt was right when he said before, they're getting closer and closer, and the entire field was barely separated by a lot of time.
So Jenson Button will start on pole position for the Legends Trophy in the Race All-Star Series. Jan Magnussen 3rd, Thiago Monteiro 4th. Juan Pablo Montoya is the driver with no name on the timing screens on the left-hand side. He starts 5th ahead of Andy Prio in 6th. Michael Jourdain in 7th place. Michael Jourdain, my apologies. Oriol Servia 9th. David Brabham 10th. Adrian Fernandez starts in 11th place, and it's 12th for Max Papis. Further back in the field, Emerson Fittipaldi 13th, Tony Oliuzzi 14th. Dario Franchitti was only a couple of tenths away from Pirro in practice, so I wonder if he made a mistake. Helio Castroneves in 16th spot. Peter Solberg in his monster liveried McLaren M23 starts in 17th at the back of the order. So pole position is Button, Pirro alongside him. A 6-lap Legends race around the Nürburgring from the race series. Away they go. Decent start from Button. Pirro is coming along, and it's a good start as well from Jan Magnussen. Magnussen trying to get the outside into the first corner. Goes late on the brakes and moves up into 2nd place. Gets ahead of Pirro, who drops to 3rd. Montoya is in 4th place, trying to go side by side with Pirro. And in fact, Montoya's got up into 3rd. Pirro has dropped down to 6th. I think he's been shuffled well out wide at the first corner. But Button it is who holds the lead, 0.8 of a second ahead of Jan Magnussen. Are we going to see the resumption of this battle from Lime Rock Park a week ago?
Fingers crossed, the two of them. Oh, chaos in the bottom right corner. You can see David Brabham coming across a load of cars. And he's going to have a massive whack there on the exit as well. So chaos unfolding behind. But yeah, Jenson Button got a brilliant start there. Really crisp, little wheel spin. And Jan Magnussen, again, good start from him. Pirro, the big loser, and where's he unraveled in all of this? At the back, 14th. So he must have been caught up in that chaos down at the hairpin as well. Really tough on Emanuele Pirro after a great qualifying.
So that 1 of 6, Jenson Button leading, 7 tenths ahead of Magnussen. Here's Andy Priaulx that we're looking in the bottom left. He's in the white car trying to get past Michael Jourdain as they come up into the chicane. This is going to be a quick couple of corners. Does Pirro fancy it? Looks to the inside, laid on the brakes and gets it in. That's a great move from Andy Priaulx. Round the outside, and he's up into 4th place. Pirro is a driver that's been getting quicker and quicker as Jourdain has a bit of a moment at the final corner. But yeah, Priaulx now up into 4th spot.
Yeah, serious tank slapper from Jourdain on the entry to the final corner. But yeah, nice move from Priaulx. Committed, fast corner that. Not one I was expecting to see a huge amount of overtakes on, just because there's a very small braking zone. But really tidy move. Priaulx up to 4th.
So Button leading and Montoya is into 2nd. So Juan Pablo Montoya has got up into 2nd ahead of Jan Magnussen. Didn't see how that happened, but Magnussen drops down. Oh, Turner and Fernandez. That was a bit rude from Turner, wasn't it? He just came to the inside and forced Fernandez off the road.
I think it all started at the first couple of corners. They already had a little bit of a touch into turn 1. And Turner may be thinking that Fernandez either wasn't there or was trying to give him a bit of payback. Not a very nice move from him, though, to be honest there. So Fernandez feeling pretty aggrieved, but losing the place ultimately. Here's our lead battle then. Jenson Button just stretching his legs to 1.6 seconds ahead of Montoya and Jan Magnussen.
This is how Montoya got past Magnussen, straight forward, down into turn 1, got the inside, got the run on the brakes. Magnussen's still in there, but Montoya got through. And that was Juan Pablo Montoya up into 2nd spot. Good move from the Colombian. $10,000 up for grabs for charity for the winner of this race. Jenson Button won the first race and donated it to a domestic abuse charity, and Jan Magnussen last week donated it to a children's hospital in Copenhagen. So Button out in front in this one at the moment. Thiago Monteiro we're on board with, trying to get past Adrian Fernandez in their battle over 9th position. There you see the Portuguese Formula 1 podium finisher and World Touring Car racer in the bottom left. On the run down to turn 1, not close enough to make a move this time.
No, just a little bit too far back there on Fernandez, who's still got Darren Turner not all that far ahead, but now he's going to be more concentrating on Thiago Monteiro behind. And look in the inset there, bottom right, you got Jan Magnussen still with Juan Pablo Montoya, and they're very slowly, slightly creeping back to the back of Jenson Button, who's not escaped completely. So only 1.4 seconds. That's not insurmountable. Jenson's got to keep on his toes there, and he's bringing Montoya and Magnussen. They're both getting towards him slightly.
Through the final corner comes Jan Magnussen. The battle you're watching on the main screen is Thiago Monteiro trying to get past Fernandez. Now, Monteiro qualified 4th or 5th, didn't he? So I think he got all sorts in trouble at the start. That's why he's so far back in the order, as he go on board with Magnussen on the brakes, down into turn 1, the chicane right, left, and then on the power out through the little cut through, and then down into the regular sequence of corners on the Grand Prix circuit. And he's just dropped away a little, hasn't he? Was a bit closer to Montoya on the last lap, but Juan Pablo has eased away again.
Ever so slightly, and Jenson Button, I think, is just starting to edge a couple of tenths clear of Montoya as well. And all the while, we're getting closer to the end of the race now, with only a couple to go, a couple of laps to go at the end of the one they're on. So Button looking pretty good, smooth, consistent. That's how we've kind of known him in Formula 1, and he's doing the same on simulator right now.
As Martin Christensen points out, Tony Liuzzi has gone from 14th to 5th position. So really good drive from the Italian, as someone made a mistake in front there. Just looked as though someone was spinning, and I think it was might have been Darren Turner, trying to figure out who that was. Certainly saw someone off the road, as Fernandez and Monteiro now battle over 8th and 9th places. Pirro is back up into 10th.
Yep, Pirro with Monteiro, so he's just behind this battle that's been going on a few laps there. Monteiro on the back of Fernandez. This is a replay. What we're going to see here, Monteiro's little nudge, and Fernandez just straight lines the final chicane. That'll be his best lap of the day so far then.
Lap 4 of 6 in the Legends Trophy here in the Race All-Star Series. Thiago Monteiro, you're seeing in the bottom left. We're on board with Emanuele Pirro in 10th position as he qualified second, had a incident at turn 2 on the opening lap, dropped well down the order and is now trying to climb back up the field, running in 10th place behind Monteiro, coming down towards the chicane at the end of the lap. It's not going to be the slow left-right that you might be used to. It's going to be the fast left-right, bouncing all over the curbs as Pirro tries to get up into 8th place. Button's lead over Juan Pablo Montoya up to 2.2 seconds now. And, oh, there's a bit wide from Monteiro. This could be Pirro's chance, Jolyon.
Yeah, this should be nice and comfortable there. Monteiro had a bit of a tank slapper through the final corner. Just saw him inset, holding the slide, and there's a slight 1 second delay. Then you saw it in the main picture, and through goes Emanuele Pirro, who's had quite a good recovery. He was down in 14th, basically last on the first lap, having qualified on the front row, and he's now back up to 9th. But just a shame that we've not seen him try and take on Jenson Button, because basically nothing separated them in qualifying. 3,000 around a 1:34 lap, so that was a shame. But yeah, for Button, he's just getting everything right now. 2.3 seconds, just inching away from Montoya, who's having a good drive, but not quite as quick as Button.
Lap 5 of 6, there's Petter Solberg. We're on board with him now in 15th position, trying to close in on Elio Castroneves in 14th position as they climb up the hill through the Schumacher S. Castroneves a little bit wide. There you see Petter Solberg in the inset, and this has to be the move. Does it? Is he going to be close enough? Looks to the inside, laid on the brakes, and past Castroneves. Round he goes. Not quite sure what happened there. It looked as though he had the move, but then maybe a wheel bang on the exit.
Yeah, I think there was just a wheel bang through the apex of the corner and then sent Solberg spinning. I thought he was going to have a super rallycross save there, but low, it was not to be. Just saw him with an armful, the biggest armful of opposite lot, but he couldn't save this one.
David Brabham up the inside of Max Papis for 12th position as we now go on to the final lap of the race. A reminder, there'll be another Legends Trophy race later on. It'll be a reverse grid race, which is always chaotic and entertaining as Brabham moves up into 12th position ahead of Max Papis. There you see Brabham in the bottom left, coming through the right left at turns 1 and 2, and then out onto the little straight down towards turn 3. But Jenson Button's lead now 2.8 seconds over Juan Pablo Montoya. Magnussen third, Prio fourth, Liuzzi fifth, and we've got Thiago Monteiro completing the top 10 at the moment. Brabham has got up into 12th position. Here's a replay. Oh, so this was just a nice super slow of Solberg's slide. If anyone was going to save that, like you say, Joey, it was going to be Petter.
But he couldn't quite. Even from the most impossible of angles, I still wondered if he might have done it, but but no. Good drive, though, from Jenson Button. 2.6 seconds clear. He's going to surely win this one. And you have to say, he's deserved it pretty clean. Montoya's pace has been reasonably good, but just not quite as good as Button. And he started behind. He's finishing slightly further behind than he was.
So Jenson Button through the final sequence of corners. Someone's off there, coming out onto the back straight. But here is Jenson Button showboating across the line as he wins the Legends Trophy in the Race All-Star Series. A great win for Button. More than 2 seconds clear of Juan Pablo Montoya in second place. Jan Magnussen in third. Oriol Servia is battling with Max Papis. Max Papis just went for it. Didn't work out. Servia's going to hold on to that 12th place. That was commitment from Max Papis.
Yeah, I don't know if he actually lifted off the throttle there or if he just tried to straight line it with his right foot all the way down. But fortunately, Oriol Servia didn't get wiped out, and then Papis was the man that came off worse with that.
So Jenson Button wins the Race All-Star Series Legends Trophy. Juan Pablo Montoya second, Jan Magnussen third, Prio fourth, and Antonio Liuzzi, Vitantonio Liuzzi, if I want to say his full name, completing the top 5. Great drive from Button. And I think we can join him now. Jenson, another commanding drive. You're always at the front in these Legends trophies, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just keeping on the circuit. I mean, you're so tense on the steering wheel. Even when you've got a 2-second gap at the front, you're so tense because it can so easily go wrong because you just can't feel the rear end so well. So But really, yeah, I mean, sorry that race wasn't so exciting, but yeah, it was a good race for me. And the start, I actually saw the lights, so had a good getaway.
Yeah, did you miss the battle a little bit? Because we all enjoyed you trying to get past Jan last time out.
Yeah, I could see in the mirrors there was a bit of action going on with Jan and JP, so it was cool to watch from the rear. But I'll take the win any day.
Okay, congratulations. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So Jenson Button then victorious in the Legends Trophy race. A really strong drive from him. His second win in 3 races, and he was second in the race he didn't win. I think he's starting to become very much the front runner in the Legends Trophy. Before then, it was all a bit up in the air, you know. Would it be Pirro? Would it be Franchitti? I think Jenson Button is really stamping his authority on the series. Another Legends Trophy grid to come later, a reverse grid. That's going to be entertaining. You're not going to want to miss it.
And don't discredit what we just saw from Button, but also what Pirro said in the interview earlier, that he's so fast and he drives so well. He was deserving of more than one championship in F1. Just quickly, I want to mention something we've got going on today, just as we do every single week. Rocket phones. I finally got mine in the mail, just actually this morning. Sweet 3D screen. You actually have a chance to win one of these. If you head over to their website, we'll put that up down below. All you have to do is answer a question with who are the 2 Williams F1 rocket drivers for 2020. We already saw one of their BTCC drivers and Nick Hamilton a little bit earlier. And there's actually a promo code you can use as well if you want to grab one. So just put in race offer and you can get a discount by doing that. Pretty cool little giveaway. Pretty cool phone. I'm glad I got one now. That said, Jack, we've got a lot more going on. I think you're going to get a chance to talk now with Andy Priu, which is a legend in his own right. Certainly an incredible touring car driver, but looking pretty good as well in these M23s.
Yeah, Andy Priu, thanks for joining us. A really strong performance there. It feels like you're getting, closer and closer to the front each time.
Oh, well, I had a tough one this time. I mean, it's tough to get on the pace. These guys are really competitive, and we're sharing the sim, Seb and I. So we're fighting over the laps, but I'm really happy. I had a podium in the Sebring and a podium in the race before that. So getting closer and closer, but not quite there yet.
Is there a reason why you're not quite there yet? Is it just a case of if Seb wasn't around, you'd practice more, or do you think these guys have a bit more experience or something?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's like everything. I think you've got to commit to your craft, and I'm still learning. I mean, I'm the old school. I'm used to being in my bum, It's really to fine tune your skills whilst we're all staying at home. So, and watching Seb now in the pro session, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Andy. Congratulations. See you in the reverse grid. So there we go. Maybe it's internet connection that is Andy Priu's issue with his pace.
He's doing well considering he's got some laggy internet, isn't he? What?
Sounds familiar for you.
Almost keeping up the pace with the top 3 as well. It's good stuff.
I think that was a great race to watch, and I love what he said as well about just keeping skills sharp while at home. I know Pagano is someone who was quite vocal about that this week. The intensity and the focus required, even if before you get into the physics and that sort of the comparability of the driving aspects is still enough to make it valuable while I guess all of us are waiting for racing to get back underway. So pretty cool overall, I have to say that more and more of the drivers are seeing the components and tools, I guess, that sim can really aid them in the real world.
I wonder if that's true for us as well, Palmer, because if we'd just had, 6 months off commentating together, maybe we'd have gone back to BBC F1 and been rubbish, but we're still in the groove,
I might have lost my voice. Just turned up and been like, what do I say? What do I do? This is keeping me fresh. And you. It's brilliant.
Oh, man. Well, it is brilliant. Listen, there's lots of stuff going.
It's beautiful weather right here. And everybody's like sunbathing in their gardens. And I'm in a shed in my garden, screaming my head like the whole road can hear me. It's a little bit embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing. Be proud of it. I think we've got something awesome going on. And that's what I was going to say. We've got so much going on the race, not just here, but also on therace.com, _race. You can see it down below. At We Are The Race on Twitter and Instagram for lots of coverage about Formula One history, lots of stuff in the racing world, even though we're not on track. And obviously, of course, all of this incredible esports action. We'll have updates coming up after this race, after the championship, because we're about to get back into it. And we do welcome you back again to the Race All-Star Series, brought to you and fully charged by Rocket Phones. We've had the Legends race, which is the highlight in many cases of the action, but the competitive nature is perhaps the highest among the pro drivers who are trying to learn their craft against the sim world. We've got our second pro race coming up. We'll take a look now and refresh ourselves with the drivers in this lineup, but another LMP3 race, a little more overtaking opportunity. It seems to be whoever gets to the front and stays out of trouble really gives themselves the best chance in these races, Jack.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of dirty air with these LMP3 Le Mans prototype cars, so I think that accounts for it a little bit. It'll be less dramatic than at Lime Rock a week ago, and we saw a pretty decent race, actually, I thought, first time out. Mike Epps disappeared, but we'll see what happens in this race, because I think we've got a few more competitive cars at the front of the order.
Yeah, and I think the lineup is ready to come up now, so we'll take a peek back through it. Jolyon, you've again, familiar with many of these names. Gabby Chavez is currently one of the 3 people at the top of the standings for the real drivers, but some other decent names in here and a couple of new ones as well this week.
Esteban Guerreri. Where's he been for a while? WTCC. Maybe I've not been watching, but yeah, good to see him in. Stoffel Van Dorn has been quick. Max Gunther currently joint leading the championship with Gabby Chavez and Mike Epps, who's already in the final. And Formula One legend Scott Mitchell, bottom right. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. Formula One journalistic legend.
Yeah, actually one of the journalists that you could find on therace.com. So cool to have him involved, get a perspective. Maybe he'll write an amazing article about the experience of that you can watch out for. We've got our head-to-head, as always, the drivers to watch. I mentioned it. Gabby Chavez is one of the guys currently sitting in a 3-way tie for the lead. And the other driver in this race, with Mike Epps, I should say, that's in that position is Maximilian Gunther, who's been doing a ton of sim racing. Obviously, you can see him in his BMW kit on the left-hand side. But both these guys, young drivers with a good amount of experience and a lot to play for today.
Yeah, and Max has just won the first Formula E race in Hong Kong. So he's very much on top form and in the zone at the moment. So let's join the qualifying session. Here is Stoffel Van Dorn then, out on circuit. I'm surprised he's not sort of a little bit further up in the order as far as the professional racing drivers go, but things haven't quite worked out for him in the first 2 races. Here he comes up towards the chicane now. We're looking for a sort of mid 1:35, mid to high 1 minute 35. Van Dorn yesterday on the server had done a 36.1. Bit of a slide coming through the final corner, out across the line, and Stoffel Van Dorn cuts the timing beam and does a 1 minute 35.255. So that's a good lap from Stoffel Van Dorn. That's going to be a pole position competitor. Is he going to go straight away in for another lap? Ingram second, Chavez third, Collado fourth, Thompson fifth, Max Gunther immediately up into second place, and Gutierrez goes pole seemingly on exactly the same lap time as Stoffel Van Dorn. But unlike real life, it appears that Gutierrez, having set the time second, is ahead of Van Dorn.
Oh, get the rule book out on that one. I'm not sure about that at all. Anyway, there's another lap that Van Dorn's on. I don't think Gutierrez is going to get it, but provisional pole. Remember, Gutierrez is not out of this championship fight either. To my mind, this second heat is more loaded with some of the faster drivers, and particularly the ones that are in the championship mix. And Gabby Chavez right now, who is technically leading the pro driver championship, down in 6th place behind Scott Mitchell.
I was all ready to absolutely destroy Scott Mitchell over the next 15-20 minutes or so, but he's out-qualified Gabby Chavez, James Collado at the moment. Of course, we've still got another lap to come, potentially. Stoffel Van Dorn is doing another lap as it stands, coming up towards the chicane, trying to get back ahead of Esteban Gutierrez, and swings it into the left and the right, and then out to the final corner and across the line. Van Dorn on the power, drives towards the line. Gutierrez has got another lap coming as well. Let's see what Van Dorn does. Back in front, a 34.929 for Stoffel Van Dorn. Gutierrez second, but here he comes, the Mexican out of the final corner. Ingram jumps up into second place. 5 seconds left on the clock. Gutierrez remains in third place. doesn't improve. So Stoffel Vandoorne takes provisional pole position. Ingram second, Gutierrez third, Gunther fourth. Guerrieri up into fifth spot. Good job from Scott Mitchell, I have to say, to qualify. I think it was 7th or 8th in the end, but another close battle. This is going to be a close battle for the race, I think, with Stoffel Vandoorne on pole position. Tom Ingram, BTCC frontrunner, starts in 2nd place on the grid. Gutierrez third, Gunther fourth. That's the one to keep an eye out on in terms of the championship, as well as Gabby Chavez starting outside the top 5 in 6th place. Seb Montoya 7th, Scott Mitchell in 8th position, just ahead of James Collado and Bobby Thompson. Seb Prio in 11th, Adam Christodoulou in 12th place on the grid. And then we've got further down the order, 13th for Aidan Millwood, Nicholas Hamilton in 14th place, Devlin DeFrancesco completing the top 15. This is going to be quite the fight. Pole position, Vandoorne on the right-hand side. Tom Ingram alongside him on the front row of the grid. Gutierrez third, Gunther fourth, as we wait for the lights and this 5-lap race about to get underway. The top 5 advance straight through to the grand final of the race All-Star Series, fully charged by rocket phones. The rest will go through to the Jones Soda last chance qualifier. Vandoorne on pole. Away they go. Not a great start from Tom Ingram. He could be under a bit of pressure on the run down to turn 1. Gutierrez and Gunther might even go either side of him. Indeed, Gunther tries to get on the grass on the inside, but he can't get through. Gutierrez goes around the outside of Ingram. Surely there's going to be a bit of contact there. Ingram is out wide, Gunther is out wide, and Gutierrez is up into 2nd place. Someone's had a slide further back, and it is Vandoorne, though, who leads the way as they come into the left-hander at turn 3. They're side by side with a bit of banging, and Gunther gets a hit from behind from Tom Ingram. So these guys racing very robustly. Vandoorne leads, Gutierrez 2nd, Gunther 3rd.
Ingram then 2nd down to 4th. Is he going to have a little look at the hairpin? Touring car driver, and he's went for it as well. Don't know what's happened to the outcome of that one, but I think he's actually lost out then to Guerrieri. But yeah, it all kicked off. And here's a replay. Gutierrez did a great job around the outside of turn 1. I think it was probably premeditated, because that gives you the inside for turn 2. Managed to muscle Ingram and Gunther out wide and made it neatly through for 2nd place.
Here is Tom Ingram having to fight with Guerrieri, coming through the right-hander out onto the back straight. The Argentinian is going to get the pace, but they had a bit of contact, and I think Seb Montoya might have hit the back, in fact, and he's now up into 5th position as they come up into the chicane for the first time. Scott Mitchell lost out on the start and dropped all the way down to 12th place. He's just got ahead of James Collado, though, so climbing back up the order. But Vandoorne leading. Oh, that's ambitious. And that's the gravel. Oh, not quite, but back across the road and into the wall.
Yeah, bad moment there for Guerrieri, pointing all the wrong directions. And through goes Gabby Chavez and Nick Hamilton as well. So, James Collado hard into the wall. That might well be the end of his race. And here we go. Chavez and Hamilton still fighting out down to turn 1. Chavez with the inside. Hamilton's going to have the inside for turn 2. But somehow they both get through it without any relevant contact. And Gabby Chavez, the man that needs to get through into this final for the championship, is through. But he's got a full 5 seconds to catch up to, is it Seb Montoya as the no-name man in 5th? That's a lot for Chavez to do here.
So Guerrieri down in 11th position now. Stoffel Vandoorne leading 1.7 seconds ahead of Esteban Gutierrez. Then it's Gunther in 3rd, 4th for Ingram, 5th for Montoya. And as you say, I can't see Chavez getting through here, straight through to the final. He's the points leader in the pro class in the final race of the final race weekend of this 3-week mini-series. And I don't think he's going to be going straight through under the ABK Beer Bridge. He's going to be down into the Jones Soda last chance qualifier, surely.
Well, he's actually made the Jones Soda last chance qualifier his own in the last couple of weeks anyway. So I don't think he'll be too perturbed by that right now, because at Sebring, he had a great final and he only got there through the last chance qualifier. So it's not the end of the road for him, but certainly there'll be huge pressure on him in that last chance qualifier that's coming up a bit later on, assuming he can't find what is now 4 seconds to Seb Montoya. So the gap is coming down.
Stoffel Vandoorne onto the brakes into the first corner. Gutierrez in 2nd, Gunther 3rd, Ingram 4th, Seb Montoya in 5th, Gabby Chavez 5th, sixth, sorry. Then Nick Hamilton, Devlin DiFrancesco, Seb Prio and Aidan Millward, the top 10. We've still got Mitchell Thompson and World Touring Car frontrunner Esteban Guerrieri running in 13th position as you look at Stoffel Van Dorn on the inside in the bottom left on lap 3 of 5.
Chavez still a good enough distance from Montoya. I don't think we've seen Seb Montoya in a final yet. I certainly can't think of a time where he has been. And Tom Ingram as well, really impressed with him. He lost out at the start, remember, but he's made a huge leap this week. So Tom Ingram looking good for the final, certainly. And they're all a little bit spread out now in the top 5. And they don't need to fight tooth and nail for the last position. The top 5 will be going through. And it's the final where they do need to fight, because that's where the points are awarded.
On board with Devlin DiFrancesco. Running in 8th place at the moment. That's Nick Hamilton up in front. Gabby Chavez not really making much progress on Seb Montoya. As they come up towards the chicane again. Lap 3 of 5. At the moment, it is those top 5 that will be advancing straight through, and it's the official Mercedes drivers that are first and second at the moment. Stoffel Van Dorn, the Mercedes Formula E driver and third driver for the Mercedes Formula 1 team, and Esteban Gutierrez, reserve driver for Mercedes. Those are the top 2, and BMW running in 3rd spot at the moment. Here comes Seb Prio. He's getting a great run here on Devlin DiFrancesco. DiFrancesco sees it coming, comes over, covers the inside fairly comfortably for the moment, as we see a bit of contact there. That could allow Aidan Millward into the fight in 10th position as Seb Prio goes to the inside. Oh no, come on DiFrancesco, that's a bit over the top.
Yeah, that's got to be a pen, that has, for DiFrancesco. Not sure if that's actually going to happen on this, but you can't be putting a driver on the grass on the straight there. I think he probably, to be honest, just misjudged the distance that Seb Prio was behind him, but a little bit naughty, kept the place, but yeah, I think the stewards would be deeming that one pretty poor. Nice fight,
4 of 5. Aidan Millward now, we're on board with in the bottom right as he watches this battle unfold. Prio tries to sell the dummy and then go around the outside. That's a good effort, and he's going to pull it off. Great move there. And Seb Prio goes round the outside of DiFrancesco, and now Aidan Millward is going to try and take advantage of that. He's in the white and orange car at the back of the queue. You can see, I think Andy Prio is lurking just behind Seb in the simulator they've got set up there at home. Onto the brakes, into the chicane, and Seb Prio up into 8th spot.
It was a lovely move around the outside. Not a move that I've maybe ever seen, that one, but it was good. Slightly all 4 wheels off the track, but given he was shoved off the track earlier in the lap, I think we'll forgive Seb Prio that one. And he's through into 8th place and 3 seconds behind Nick Hamilton, who's doing a really good job as well, has to be said. A lot of drivers impressing right now. Mainly the big guns are doing a good job, but Ingram in 4th, Hamilton in 7th, doing good jobs in my eyes.
And look who's coming to join the party. Scott Mitchell at the rear of these 4. The race Formula 1 journalist is in 11th place at the moment, just behind Millward as they come out onto the straight down towards the hairpin. Stoffel Van Dorn is on his final lap though, in the lead of the race, having a good run. 2.7 seconds clear of Esteban Gutierrez. Gunther in 3rd position, and it looks as though that's how it's going to end as they come out onto the back straight for the final time. Gabby Chavez is going to miss out. He's going to be through to the Jones Soda last chance qualifier by the looks of things, which is not where he wants to be. But Stoffel Van Dorn through the left, through the right, over the curbs, through the final corner, and it is going to be the win from pole position for Stoffel Van Dorn, out across the line, straight through to the final. Esteban Gutierrez across the line in 2nd, Max Gunther 3rd, Tom Ingram books himself in the 4th place, and there's Nick Hamilton in the VR that you're seeing in the bottom left. So he's racing in virtual reality, surrounding, and he says you can look around and see the curbs and things like that. And Hamilton, in the end, finishes in across the line in 15th place. And there across the line comes Scott Mitchell and crashes into the wall. but he had crossed the line in 10th position. So Van Dorn takes the win. Commanding drive ahead of Gutierrez, and those top 5 fairly quietly went through. Nicholas Hamilton looks for some reason he was disqualified from that one, so we'll wait and see what happens there. But Gabby Chavez, points leader in the pro drivers, is going into the Jones Soda last chance qualifier. So like you say, he's done it before, he's won it many times before, but it just adds that little bit of stress that I guess you don't need when you're going for a championship, Jolyon.
Well, there's unknown elements as well. Chavez might qualify on pole, but he might get fired off by an overzealous rival into the first corner. You know, that's a risk that he wouldn't have wanted to take. He's capable of getting through. He's leading the Pro Drivers' Championship. But I'd rather be Mike Epps or Max Gunther or even Esteban Gutierrez straight through, no pressure. You know, it's just one race for this title.
Well, let's speak to Esteban Gutierrez then, shall we? The second place finisher. Jolyon Palmer wants to be him, and I think we can now speak to Esteban. Congratulations, Esteban. Decent race for you. Second place, straight through to the final.
Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't really get a lot of practice. I'm also doing the 24 hours of Nürburgring at the same time, so it was interesting to just join the servers from time to time. Yeah, get grips with the track. And it's great that we got straight into the final. And I think it was a good battle in the first lap at the start, in the first 2 corners, which is very tricky. But yeah, I think on the final we'll try to push a bit more.
And how are you feeling battling for the championship of the pro drivers?
It's great. I think it's all about consistency. I just try to keep clean races. Obviously, you know, sim and the virtual world, it's quite new to me. It's only been a few weeks that I got involved into this, and I'm really enjoying it a lot, especially, you know, the interaction with all my followers, my fans, which are here on the Twitch channel. So yeah, it's great to be sharing what we love and everything with them.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Esteban. Best of luck for the final.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks a lot, and great job on the commentary and everything you guys do. Thank you.
Better job on the driving, though, I think. So there's Esteban Gutierrez, who is advancing straight through to the final. When we come back, we're going to be seeing our sim races in action here at the Race All-Stars Series, fully charged by Rocket Phones.
Well, Jack, you're absolutely right. Gabby Chavez has made a home for himself in the last chance qualifier. I think he has been the victim, but perhaps the victor of good fortunes. He seems to keep his nose clean when he gets to the finals, and you can hear Gutierrez say it. Consistency is key. I don't necessarily think he has the pace, but making the final has to be the first step.
Yeah, absolutely right. Maybe Gabby Chavez just loves Jones Soda. I don't know, because who was it last week who had all of the Jones Soda bottles open and...
Where's Ed Jones this week?
Was it not? It was Ed Jones that was always in the Jones Soda.
I'm waiting for Ed Jones to win the Jones Soda last chance qualifier. He's not in it this week.
It's a shame. It's a shame. There's going to be some competition in there as well, because there was some chaos in the first Pro Drivers race. With that, though, we do have another Legends race coming up in just a little bit. We've got a sim race in between with the Pro Sim drivers, whoever they are. Now, they're pretty damn quick, but we've got another legend standing by for Jack to speak with, and it is none other than Jack Brabham.
David Brabham, thank you for joining us. How are you enjoying this sim racing? Like, I feel like you've got the pace, but something always happens. So you're in the mix and in the chaos.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a bit of a magnet, to be fair. I mean, I've not been able to get through the first corner without an accident somewhere, and then it's a better chasing the pack down, which I always enjoy. But this weekend I'm struggling for a bit of pace. I was kind of surprised to actually be 10th in qualifying. I finished 10th, so I look forward to the next one.
Yeah. How long have you been doing the sort of sim racing stuff? Is it only since global events, or had you been dabbling a little before then?
No, it's global events. Yeah, never really touched it. And it's kind of interesting because I do kind of get a bit mad and I shout a bit. And I always used to tell the kids off when they were playing games and they'd lose it. And I'd tell them, stop it, because, you know, it's just ridiculous. And now they've got their own back because they're seeing me do exactly the same thing, probably 10 times worse.
But you haven't smashed anything yet? You haven't broken any screens or anything?
No, I haven't smashed anything, but boy, it can be frustrating. With this car too, you do a lap and it's quick and you think, well, how did I do that? And then you try and copy it the next lap and it's like, you're half a second slower and you just don't know why. So it's a challenge for everyone. But a couple of the guys obviously are really super quick, like Jensen and Mags has been pretty quick as well over the course of the races. And just trying to figure it out.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us, David.
All right, thanks, guys.
And of course it is David Brabham. Listen, Jack, your first name, his last name, it's easy to do. But nonetheless, he's right. We started. Sorry?
I'm not criticizing. I've done worse.
It's fine. I was criticizing myself. I would never do that to you and put you on the spot like that. But what I will say is we started out in a Brabham car. So for the switch to the McLaren, maybe that's what it's in. Nonetheless, pretty cool to hear the inconsistencies of that car is tough to get used to. I do love as well the relation to his kids being in gaming, because my dad used to do that to me too. He'd be like, get off the computer, stop yelling. And I've heard him do the same when he's tried my sim rig, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of fun. Julia and I don't know what your experience is with that in terms of parents around sim and certainly growing up with your dad in karting and racing.
Oh, we've all been there. We've all been there having a little game and your parents are like, what are you doing? It's only a game. It means more than that at the time. And I just love all these interviews with the legends. They're all so happy.
When he gets cross.
Yeah, I think it's pretty impressive. It's pretty cool. I love also that Gutierrez is saying he's doing the Nürburgring 24-hour. There's so much sim going on, so much activity in the racing world, and it's all brought people together. Legends more so than any. We've got so many different drivers on one track to entertain you. Lots more action coming your way on the Race All-Star Series, fully charged by Rocket phones. We do have another Legends race coming up, a reverse grid. That'll be fun. But first and foremost, it's the world's fastest gamers, quite literally. And this qualifier is extremely important. The storyline is who will catch Erhan Yayovsky. He is at the top of the table, Nikodem Videtsky just behind, and then Bono Huis in third. But the qualifier has been as cutthroat as the final, because first to score points, you've got to make it in, and there's no last chance for these guys. As we say, Yayovsky is a world's fastest gamer finalist, but man, oh man, he's got some competition in this field, Jillian.
Brendan Lee, Lucas Blakely immediately catch the eye in the right-hand column. Good to see them both back. The competition is it's fierce in this sim heat. They are the fastest in this whole series, really, and they should be, because this is their bread and butter. But yeah, Yayovsky, he's got to make it through this heat. And a 10th or 2 in qualifying could see him start outside the top 5 and not get the chance to be in the final where he's going to score the points. So it is all to play for.
And naturally, our head-to-head is the championship leaders. It's quite a substantial lead. Yayovsky is obviously 2 for 2 in these cars, but Wisniewski's been pretty consistent throughout the entire series, and he's knocking on the door to capitalize should there be a mistake from Yayovsky, should he not qualify, Jack.
Yeah, the gap is 14 points between Yayovsky and Wisniewski. You get 35 points for the win, and you get, if you finish 6th, you get 20th. So, 20 points. So if Wisniewski were to win and Yayovsky finished 6th or worse, then Wisniewski wins the title. So it's not absolutely insurmountable, as we see Erhan Yayovsky in qualifying. But before we even get to that, as you say, they've got to get through this race and through the top 5 and into the final. So here comes Erhan Yayovsky, half a tenth down in Sector 1, but Sector 1 is so short. Everybody pretty much is doing the same lap times in that first sector, because it's just braking for the right, then flick to the left. It's the middle sector, really, where all the time is on this lap. And at the moment, it is Yayovsky on provisional pole position. Oh, and he spins it. So that's his run done. Siggy second, 3/10 adrift. Wisniewski third. Pawlowski fourth. Brzezinski in 5th position. Then Simontic, Huis, Toman, Terzic, Berliak. The top 10 at the moment. As we look at Nikodem Wisniewski, can he try and climb up the order? Everybody at the moment, 3/10 of a second adrift of Erhan Yayovsky.
4 skis in the top 5. It pays to be a ski in the sim racing heats, that's for sure. But Yayovsky is the top ski, 3/10 clear of Kevin Siggy, who's been really quick as well at times. And let's see what he can do at the end of the lap. That's Wisniewski in the bottom left, Siggy in the bottom right, coming through the final corner. Yayovsky can't improve. Siggy might be able to, but he needs to find a lot of time if he's going to depose Yayovsky of pole position.
Wisniewski goes second, so he gets up onto the front row at least, gets ahead of Kevin Siggy. Brzezinski fourth, Pawlowski in fifth position. Alan Terzic across the line to go sixth, ahead of Simoncic, Huis, Toman and Berliak. And it is going to be Erhan Yayovsky then who seals pole position. If you want to hear more from Erhan Yayovsky, download the Race Esports podcast. We spoke to him and Jan Magnussen last week. Interesting to get to know Erhan Yayovsky a little bit, but he's going to be starting on pole position. Nikodem Wisniewski alongside him on the front row of the grid. Kevin Siggy third, Kuba Brzezinski is fourth, and Julian Yayovsky's just got to keep it clean.
Yeah, he does. Wisniewski, second in the championship, second on the grid though. He's got to make this uncomfortable for Yayovsky. He's got to just try and elbow him as much as he dares in those opening corners and try and force him back into the pack. Interestingly, Bono Huis, 8th. The man third in the championship has a lot of work to do to even be in the top 5 in the final here.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Brendan Lee, 13th, the two-time F1 Esports champion. Zbigniew Sciara starts in 15th position, the Polish racer, just ahead of Kirill Birukov. Michi Hoyer in 14th spot. Lucas Blakely, the Scot, is 17th on the grid. Nuno Pinto, the Portuguese racer, down in 20th position in this race as we wait for the action to get underway. And we are going to see which 5 will advance through to the final of the Race All-Star Series. This is the final weekend of this 3-race series. The championship leader is Erhan Yayovsky. He's on pole in the green car as the race gets underway. Immediately comes over to try and cover off Nikodem Wisniewski. Wisniewski's very close though. Has he got the inside? No, not quite. Then he looks to the outside and Wisniewski's going to get done by Kevin Siggy. Up the inside goes Siggy. Wisniewski and he goes side by side. It's 3 wide further back. And that's a big, big slide and a big moment for Wisniewski. Where is he going to fall back to? Siggy's second, Brzezinski's third. Wisniewski has just about held on in 4th position, but he was nearly out of that, Jolien.
Yeah, huge slide on the power coming through turn 2, fighting with Kevin Siggy, and he's just lost another place or two, has he? Where's he gone now?
He's down to 7th place. Huis and Simoncic have got past him on the run down into the hairpin. It's all falling apart for Nikodem Wisniewski, who drops to 7th place. The 2nd place man in the championship, who started 2nd on the grid, is now down into 7th spot, and we're on board with him now.
Yeah, he's got to make this through on Jurnej Simoncic, our round 1 winner back in 7 weeks ago. And that was on this track as well for Simoncic, but now Wisniewski needs to just get his elbows out, and pretty much like that, passes Simoncic side by side still through the right-hander, and now Simoncic launches it off wide, and they're still side by side up to this very quick chicane. Who's behind? Berliak wants to make it 3 wide.
Here they come towards the chicane. We're looking on board with Berliak, and Simoncic is holding it on the inside, but Wisniewski does well. Round the outside, up into 6th place. So it's Bono Huis versus Nikodem Wisniewski, who you can see in the bottom left. And maybe I'm reading too much into this. There looks a look of concern on Wisniewski's face. He's not there super chilled like normal. He's got to get past Bono Huis if he wants any chance of winning this title. Petr Berliak goes to the outside, defends as Simoncic goes to the outside. They go side by side through the first couple of corners, and Michi Hoyer and Petr Berliak's in there, and I think that's Petr Berliak that spun around and has dropped down the order now. Or was that Siebel? I think it was Siebel that spun around. So busy out there as Michi Hoyer and Petr Berliak fight over 8th place.
Yeah, just about keep it clean through the left, right, and now they go downhill to the hairpin. But all of that has helped Wisniewski just escape with Simoncic as well. They're now clear of this battle for 8th place. But as you said, Bono Huis 5th, Wisniewski 6th. Both of them have a chance to win the championship. And as it stands, one of them will not be in the final. And as it stands, it's going to be Wisniewski, unless he can pass Bono Huis in the next 3 and a bit laps.
That 2 of 5. Yayovsky leading. Only 0.6 of a second ahead of Kevin Siggy. Brzezinski 3rd, Terzic 4th, Huis in 5th. 0.6 ahead of Wisniewski. So that gap has come down, hasn't it? Because it was over a second as we go on board with Zbigniew Sciara down in the bottom left. He looks like he's got quite a basic setup, actually, looking at the looking at the wheel. Can't quite see what wheel it is, but it doesn't look like a very complex piece of kit. Here's a look at what happened with Kamil Pawlowski at the first corner. Oh, he got turned around again, and then just driven into by everybody else, and there was all sorts of chaos at turn 1.
Yeah, so that was Pawlowski to the back. But at the front now, Wisniewski's just 3/10 away from Bono Huis. That's for 5th place, the crucial 5th place, because these guys don't get a last chance qualifier. This is it, all or nothing. And right now, Bono Huis is going to have some defending to do.
No Jones Soda for the sim racers. We're on lap 3 of 5. Yujovski's only 8/10 ahead of Kevin Siggy, those two driving away at the front. But there, in the light grey car, is Bono Huis, ahead of Wisniewski at the moment, but only by 0.4 of a second. And Wisniewski, well, he's just got to get it done, hasn't he? It's all or nothing. There's nothing complicated. There's no, who should I be careful? Should I be sensible? You've got to get past, or it's done.
And if the two of them don't make it through, if they make contact, then I believe that would make Yujovski just champion on the spot. So it's all to play for right now. And this crucial 5th place is exactly that. It's the look back now at Nikodem Wisniewski, who's just somehow got to find a way past this silver car of Bono Huis.
Technically, Yujovski could still be beaten by Chavez, Epps and Gunther for the overall title, but it would definitely wrap him up the sim title, were Wisniewski and Huis unable to finish. Out they come, across the line again, and they're all getting queued up here behind Brzezinski, really. Brzezinski, Terzic, Huis. We're on board with Terzic, running in 4th place at the moment. Little look to the inside. Not, well, I was going to say not close enough to make the move, but he sends it. They bang, wheels and slide, and that could be the good news for Wisniewski.
Oh, Keski Spas. What's happened here for 3rd position? Brzezinski's just dropping back very quickly. Terzic makes it through. He had to go for that huge lunge into turn 1, but it's Brzezinski suddenly lost all pace. He must have made a big mistake on the last lap.
So Yujovski leads, Siggy 2nd, Terzic 3rd, Brzezinski 4th, and Wisniewski is back up into 5th position. Let's see if we can figure out what happens. It starts then. This is on board with Wisniewski. This is how he gained that crucial position down into turn 1. The lunge comes up in front. Oh, and then he's whacked into the back of Bono Huis as well.
Uh-oh. I don't sense that one's going to go well. For 5th place, the crucial 5th place, and Wisniewski has just biffed off Bono Huis, basically. Huis carries on in 6th, but surely he's got to return the favour. There's too much at stake now for Bono Huis to just allow Wisniewski through in what is definitely an unfair manner.
Jene Simoncic we're on board with in the bottom right. He's running in 7th place as they come up through the chicane. Look how close Huis is to the back of Nikodem Wisniewski. Huis is all out over the curb. He's been a little bit scrappy through there, so he might not get the opportunity down the start-finish straight for the final time to try and get back at Wisniewski for 5th position. Yujovski's on the final lap. What's going to unfold down at turn 1? Huis is having to defend from Jene Simoncic. Simoncic goes through, does he? Huis tries to hold on the outside, but this is all over 6th position, and it means that Wisniewski is getting away.
The only thing now for Huis, he made a big mistake in the chicane, went in way too hot, got all out of shape on the exit, and that's why he's now under fire from Simoncic just behind, who still maybe thinks he can make the top 5. If he passes Huis, he only needs something to happen between Brzezinski and Wisniewski, and he's into the top 5 and the final. So it's all to play for. But yeah, Bono Huis now needs some drama ahead because he's just dropped too far back from Nikodem Wisniewski.
Lap 5 of 5. Erhan Yujovski leading the way. Kevin Siggy 2nd. Terzic 3rd. We're on board with Jene Simoncic, who is still putting Bono Huis under pressure. There are points available for finishing 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th in the sim race, but nowhere near enough considering the fact you're not advancing through to the final. Huis gets on the power, but he's not going to be close enough to do anything about Nikodem Wisniewski coming up to the final 3 corners. Erhan Yujovski, though, is absolutely dominating the race All-Star Series fully charged by Rocket Phones, and he's come out of the final corner to win again. What a drive from Yujovski. Siggy only 0.8 of a second back, but he surely has one hand now on the trophy. 14 points clear of Nikodem Wisniewski, who does make it through in 5th position in controversial circumstances. Bono Huis in 6th place. Stimicic, Hoyer, Berliak and Ciara completing the top 10. But I mean, credit to Yayovsky. That was a good drive from him, Jolien.
Again, he's so good in these LMP3 cars. Every time that we've been in them, he's basically been winning, and he's just kept it up. He's still got the final to do, and because Wisniewski managed to get into the top 5, the drama continues, and anything that goes wrong for Yayovsky, as it did for Rudy Van Buren a couple of weeks ago, the championship's not done, but it's really heading that way because he just looks so good every time he gets in these cars.
So, Erhan Yayovsky takes the win. Kevin Siggy in 2nd position. Alan Terzic 3rd. Kuba Brzezinski 4th. Nikodem Wisniewski in 5th position. Huis missing out on the final, as well as Simincic, Hoyer, Berliak and Zbigniew Ciara. We've got another Legends race to come later on, a reverse grid Legends race, which is going to be really entertaining. Can't wait for that one. And we've got the Jones Soda last chance qualifier next up, and then the grand final, where the prize money is on the line for the sim racers that gets donated to a charity of their choice, and the prize for the sim racers is a test in a Formula One simulator. And you have to say, Erhan Yayovsky is looking very, very good for that. Yuri Toman in 14th place. Nuno Pinto did well because he started in last and managed to climb up into 12th position. Lucas Blakely completing the top 20. So there we go. When we return, we'll be into the Jones Soda last chance qualifier. We've got the Legends Trophy reverse grid race to come, as well as the grand final. Bono Huis out of the running. Nikodem Wisniewski just through, but Yayovsky took the win.
We'll talk about drama before we even get to the final. Wisniewski gets all over the place at the start, drops down the order, and Huis doesn't even make it through. Terzic capitalized on all that. He went well up the order, finished 3rd place, but that had a little bit of everything. Yayovsky again, dominant at the front, Jillian.
Yeah, Yayovsky great. Wisniewski, that move though on Bono Huis, not good. But he made it into 5th, and you know he's got away with it. He's into the final, but if I was Huis, I would have just fired him straight at the next corner. No, thank you. I mean, I know it's probably unintentional, but you can't just get through like that. The stewards turned a blind eye to it, and you know, Bono Huis he's out for that.
Yeah,
tough.
Yeah, that is a bitter pill to swallow, undoubtedly. He does pick up points for, as you say, Jack, 6th place, but no chance to capitalize in the final with Yayovsky through. That pretty much brings it down to a 2-horse race when we get into this. Of course, the Legends race first, but when we get into the final.
Yeah, and Wisniewski's not showing the driving necessary to win the title, because he qualified 2nd, but he was super loose at the first corner, almost spun there. That's what dropped him back in the order. That's what got him into the mess. And then he was not too calm and assured driving through. So to think he's then going to win the race and Yayovsky finishes 6th or lower, it would take something pretty dramatic, I think. Erhan Yayovsky looking very strong, 14 points clear of Nikodem Wisniewski, and Bono Huis then in 3rd place, not through to the final. But that Chavez-Epps-Gunther battle is the next one to focus on, because Gabby Chavez is in the Jones Soda last chance qualifier next up. So he needs to get through that if he wants to win the pro drivers element of the All-Star Cup leaderboard.
Yeah, and he's been in that many times. One of the pro drivers you guys touched on earlier about Rig was Stoffel Van Dorn. I know he did start on a G29.
He's better
upgraded now. I think he's upgraded to a Fanatec DD, but we'll find out now because he actually gave us a little bit of tour of his setup at home.
Hey guys, I'm gonna give you a quick tour of my home simulator setup and show you what I'm using to do all these virtual races. So let's start with the Cockpit, which is track racers. It's kind of a GT style setup, but very, very comfortable. Then obviously one of the most important bits is the steering wheel, which is provided by Fanatec. It's a direct drive. with the Formula 1 steering wheel onto it. It's got a lot of steering wheel buttons as well, which is very, very handy for all the steering changes we have to do during the lap. Still running a very small screen at the moment. I do actually have a bigger screen. I just don't have the mount yet to put it on my gaming rig. And then come to the final bit, which is obviously very important, my super fast computer made by overclockers. So now I'm able to stream everything. I've been streaming a lot of my races, showing you guys around how all this virtual racing is going, and I'll be back this weekend. So make sure to tune in, and I'll see you soon.
Pretty cool. First one to actually show us the PC as well. He's got a custom glass on the side of that with his name and logo. That's pretty special, actually. I kind of like that.
Just get like a Sharpie and write it on your own.
I could actually. I don't know if anyone see. It have to be like silver, I think. I've got a pretty dark side to the case, but I don't know that I'm deserving such as he is on that lovely DD. With that, we're going to take a break. Come back. We get ready for the last chance qualifier. Well, it all to play for. We've got our 5 sim drivers in. We've got 10 of the real drivers in, but the Race All-Star Series fully charged by Rocket Phones now arrives at the last chance qualifier, the Jones Soda last chance qualifier for the real drivers to determine our final 5 grid slots. And Gabby Chavez is in that mix. He better hope for a clean race, Jack.
Yeah, he's got to do it. There's no choice. If he doesn't get through, he's not. I mean, technically, he could. No, he couldn't win the title if he doesn't get through. I think it's done because Gutierrez has already booked his place in the final. So big pressure, I guess, on Gabby Chavez. But we've seen him do it so many times in the Jones Soda last chance qualifier. So he has to be the favorite, despite not making it through in the first round.
Yeah, and I've said he's an opportunist in a lot of ways. I think he's capitalized on consistency and other people's mistakes. Hasn't always gone that way in the qualifier, Gilliam, but he finds himself here again. As Jack said, Gutierrez is already through. Epps is in as well, so it is pressure on. There's no chance of lucking into the win at this point. He has to get there.
Yeah, and Gunther as well. All 3 of the main rivals are through. So if he doesn't go through, he doesn't win. It's as simple as that. He's been good in the past in this last chance qualifier. He's got pace. That's why he's where he is in the championship. Pressure's on now, though. There's something real at stake at the end of today. And if he doesn't get the most out of this race, he ain't getting it.
It's tough to go into the last chance qualifier, too. Sure, you could say he's the one that has the best pace in theory, but you've got a number of drivers in this field who maybe got binned off in race 1 and are probably have pace themselves, but maybe a little angry by that. It might be a little more reckless. So you're at risk a little bit more. That said, we are going to jump into the Jones Soda last chance qualifier because cars are on track. We'll be there in just a sec.
So this is the Jones Soda last chance qualifying, and Gabby Chavez is out on circuit now. This is the series finale for this little mini series, but this won't be the end of the Race All-Star series. We'll be still coming back next week as Gabby Chavez onto the brakes, down into turn 1 for his all-important qualifying lap. He should be able to get 2 laps in because he started with 3 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock, and here he goes. Let's see what he's got.
Big pressure lap for Chavez. Generally, what we've seen so far in qualifying is the first lap being something more of a banker, and then they can just absolutely fly through that chicane at the end, take a little bit more risk, and find a bit of time on the second lap. And Chavez should just about, as you say, get 2 laps in him.
Here he comes into the hairpin. Back out, up towards the Schumacher S's. Reasonable first sector for Chavez as he swings into the left and then the right, using all the curb on the second part, none of it on the first, and now the final 2 corners before coming out onto the back straight. Look at the concentration on his face.
It's important. Couple of corners to go, and if he starts in the melee, as Matt was saying just before we cut to quali, the other drivers generally, they're in here because A, they're not as quick, they didn't qualify quite at the front, but they might have got caught up in tangles as well. Harry Tincknell was one that did, in his heat. He's been quick. Well, that's him bottom right, Gabi Chavez bottom left, and on main screen. But let's see what they can do. If Chavez doesn't qualify on pole, he's at a much higher risk of, if not getting in the top 5, being caught up in the chaos. But he's gone provisional pole by 3/10. That's a really good lap.
Tincknell second, Newey third, Ben-Yahia fourth, Shongalal in fifth. Collado is immediately beaten by Guerrieri, who's in sixth position. Collado seventh, Adam eighth, ninth for Prio. De Francesco completing the top 10. 11 cars separated by 0.8 of a second, with a minute 20 left on the clock. And Adam Christodoulou in 17th place, but Gabi Chavez in there as he battles for the overall title for the pro drivers, which the prize is $30,000 to a charity of their choice. Jenson Button, by the way, for his $10,000 for his charity win earlier on, goes to Project Angel, which is a charity that prepares and delivers healthy meals to feed people impacted by serious illness, bringing comfort and hope every day. Angelfood.org if you want to find out more about them. But that's where Button's money has gone, as Aidan Millwood now comes out of the final corner. Currently 18th, he jumps up the order to... No, remains in... oh, that's because here he is on the bottom left. He hasn't finished his lap, that's why. As he comes into the left-right, a little bit not bothering with the apex at the left-hander, and then comes out onto the back straight. But Chavez quickest at the moment, Tincknell second, Newey third, and Chavez not doing another lap then. So can anyone get up and beat him?
Here's Newey, the man in third, dancing through the final chicane all over the curbs. Looked pretty good. He's got 4/10 to find if he wants to get on provisional pole. Collado goes second. That's a nice lap from James Collado. Newey's chuffed with that one, and he's gone to the top. Huge lap from Harry Newey, and he was delighted with it on that inset.
Wow, so he's just managed to get ahead of Gabi Chavez. So Harry Newey on pole position for the Jones Soda last chance qualifier. Chavez in second, and that is going to be quite the battle on the run down towards the first corner. How seriously, not seriously, but how cautiously does Gabi Chavez take this, Jolyon?
I find sometimes you think about it too much, you go too cautious, and you end up in trouble because of that.
Here's a look at the grid. Harry Newey in the bottom left there is on pole position. Gabi Chavez alongside him on the front row of the grid. Harry Tincknell there in 5th place. Michael Benyahir in 6th position. Sean Galal 7th. Johnny Adam in 8th spot. 9th is Seb Prio. Lachlan De Francesco completes the top 10. Bobby Thompson in 11th ahead of Adam Christodoulou. In 12th, a reminder the top 5 go through to the final. Kevin Hansen 13th. That'll be a bit disappointing for him because he was running towards the front earlier on. Nicholas Hamilton 14th. James Pull 15th. Not good from Scott Mitchell. 16th place after performing a little better than that earlier on in the first groups. So, pole position for Harry Newey. Gabi Chavez alongside him on the front row of the grid. And this is the Jones Soda last chance qualifier. 5 to go through to the grand final. The last 5 spots up for grabs. Newey on pole, Chavez second, and it's a lot of wheel spin for Newey. Chavez immediately gets up alongside. Can he get the lead of the race on the run down towards the first corner? Collado trying to get into 3rd position, and Chavez has got it. He's found the inside line. Everybody's steaming into turn 1. Harry Tincknell's gone around the outside and finds himself in 4th place. Great move from Harry Tincknell. I don't know how he's climbed that far up the order, but Chavez leads, Newey second, Collado 3rd, Tincknell in 4th position.
Held his nerve. Gabi Chavez, really great start, and it was Newey that had a bit too much wheel spin and ended up dropping back and nearly got swiped by a load of other people coming through.
Someone's on the grass as they go 3 wide further back at the hairpin. Michael Benyahir trying to get past Bobby Thompson for 7th spot. On board with James Pull in the bottom right as he's running in 13th position. And whoop, big moment. And that's a big slide and a big crash. Someone's upside down. Absolutely ginormous roll. I think that was Sean Galal.
Galal, that looked more like one of the Porsches at Le Mans all those years ago as he flew through the air. Spin there, that's from quite a bit further up, I think. Not sure who it is just yet, but they're not further up anymore. Maybe James Poole that dropped down?
Benyahir.
Benyahir dropping down. Shame for him. But here we go. James Collado on the back of Harry Newey. Chavez has done everything perfectly here. He's taken the lead and he's now nearly 2 seconds clear. That's looking good for him to continue his reign as the master of the Jones Soda last chance qualifier. Here we go for second.
Newey defending. Looking to the outside. No, the inside is James Collado. He's managed to find the inside at the end of the pit wall, and he sends it through. Up the inside on Harry Newey. Newey tries to hold on, but he won't be there. Oh, Collado's gone in deep for the second left-hander, and all of that means Guerrieri is going to get through. Oh, big shunt behind, straight off into the wall. I think that might have been Thompson heading towards the wall, or Hansen. It was one of those two. It was Bobby Thompson. And now Adam Christodoulou is side by side with James Pull. Someone's flying over the curbs in front of them. That is De Francesco getting involved. All of that means Scott Mitchell is up into 8th place now, right on the back of James Pull. Cars still spinning on the grass, further up the order, further up the hill, I should say.
This lap has been madness across the entire field. And the places are just swapping all over. It was Johnny Adam and De Francesco that had a bit of a ding-dong through the corners earlier on. Then there was more carambolage coming up the hill, and in all of it, that was just away from the top 5. Another one, Seb Prio's got sideways. There's a green card, don't know who that is, that's going to be losing out as well. Chaos.
Yeah, that was Scott Mitchell, who'd been tapped into a spin seemingly. He was already sideways on the circuit, and now he's dropped well down the order, having got up into the top 10. Nicholas Hamilton now is right up behind Seb Prio as they come towards the chicane, but he won't be able to get around the outside there. There you see Nick Hamilton on the inside, the Rocket-sponsored driver racing in VR, and he's gone in a little deep there, and he could be under pressure from Devlin De Francesco as they come out across the line. Lap 3 of 5. Chavez, Collado, Guerrieri, and Newey and Tincknell are the top 5.
And they're all looking quite good. There's quite a close fight now between Tincknell and Newey. Newey, who was our pole man, and he's dropping back down the order. And now he's got Harry Tincknell not too far away, just half a second for 5th. Here's a battle between Bobby Thompson and everyone else basically behind. De Francesco on the headlights, that old classic trick. Didn't know that applied for sim racing as well, but it does. And and Millwood and Mitchell catching up as well.
There used to be a rule in some series that you couldn't use the headlights because it would, people who didn't have very strong computers, it would crash their computers if you flashed headlights because the game couldn't cope, or your computer couldn't cope with the game flashing. Oh, there's a picture-in-picture of Scott Mitchell on the Zoom call. That was something no one wanted to see. Lap 3 of 5, Gabby Chavez out in front, Collado 2nd, Guerrieri in 3rd, Newey 4th, Tincknell 5th. So despite all that chaos for Harry Newey and Harry Tincknell, they are both advancing through to the final as it stands.
So this headlights thing, if you flashed your headlights behind someone, the car ahead would have like a surge of power needed to show the headlights, and then their game would crash. Essentially, yeah. Like if your car couldn't cope with the graphics, we're about to see this huge shunt for Sean Galal. But if your machine couldn't cope with the graphics, then it would, freeze out if someone was flashing their headlights because of the extra computer power required to flash the headlights. So there you go. Lap 4 of 5, Seb Prio. Oh, Devlin, he's gone for it. 2 in 1. He's done it. What a great move from Devlin. That was mad. It looked like he braked about 30 meters too late, but somehow stopped it at the apex still. And he's absolutely pulled the other two pants down. Who is it? Seb Prio and Nick Hamilton, I think. That was serious commitment from De Francesco down at turn 1. And he got it stopped. Nice work. Wow. Lap 4 of 5. Chavez, Collado, Guerrieri, Newey, Tincknell, the top 5 at the moment. The penultimate lap of the race. Devlin De Francesco's just pulled off the move of the race all-star series, I would say. I've never seen anything quite like that, as Collado is dropping further away from Gabby Chavez, the championship leader, who looks as though he's booking himself a place in the final. Here's a look at the replay. He came from nowhere here. He's a long way back, and it looked like he was going for a move on one and ended up getting both, and then got nearly fired, I think, by Nick Hamilton at turn 2. But Yeah, it just came from nowhere on 2 cars, and it was super squeaky clean until he got hit from behind at turn 2.
Lap 5 of 5. Here's Scott Mitchell fighting with Michael Ben-Yahir. Ben-Yahir up the inside into the chicane. Mitchell turns in. The back end goes. Ben-Yahir cuts the corner a little bit on the grass and gets up into 15th position. The final lap of the race now. Gabby Chavez out in front, 3.4 seconds ahead. Di Francesco, well, you're not going to beat him on the brakes down into turn 1. Oh, unless you hit him, as Seb Priaulx does there with a little nudge, and then Nick Hamilton takes advantage of that. It looked as though Seb Priaulx was in the perfect position.
Yeah, Priaulx trying the Wisniewski move down there. He's seen it work and went for it himself, but this time not doing. And Di Francesco held on to his 9th place that he's worked very hard for. But all at the moment for nothing. It's a little bit closer for Tincknell now, 2.5 to Kevin Hansen, but I don't think Hansen's going to get there. And the top 5 look good.
And Gabby Chavez is there coming down into turn 1. He's now on the final lap of the race. In fact, I think he's in the closing stages of the lap now, isn't he? With Nick Hamilton here we're watching in the bottom left, under pressure from Seb Priaulx, who's using all the curb and a little bit more. And he's coming through the left and the right now, out onto the back straight. There you're seeing Seb Priaulx with Andy watching on behind, because Andy's next up, isn't he? But here's Gabby Chavez through the final corner. The championship leader books himself a place in the final of the race All-Star Series, fully charged by Rocket Phones. And James Collado will finish in 2nd place. Seb Priaulx to the outside, onto the grass, across the gravel. Manages to keep it together just about, but it'll be 11th place across the line for Seb Priaulx after what a busy race that was. Chaos, that one.
A lot of action, mostly not coming in the top 5, but good job there from all of that top bunch.
So Gabby Chavez takes the win, James Collado 2nd, Esteban Guerrieri in 3rd position, Harry Newey 4th, and Harry Tincknell completing the top 5 after a very chaotic Jones Soda last chance qualifier. So we can now speak to Gabby Chavez, championship leader. He's in the final now. Gabby, how much pressure did you feel in that race? Because you had to make it through. We'll get Gabby Chavez in a moment. I'll probably ask a similar question, I would have thought. Sebastian Priaulx down in 11th place. Lachlan Di Francesco in 12th. 13th for Aidan Millward. 14th, Bobby Thompson. 15th, Michael Ben-Yahir. Scott Mitchell, 16th. 17th, Adam Christodoulou. And Sean Gallard not finishing after that ginormous accident at the end there. Absolutely huge for Sean Gallard at the end there, I should say, at the start there. Now we can hear, I think, from Gabby Chavez. Gabby, a good race. How much pressure did you feel going into that last chance qualifier? Gabby, can you hear us?
Gotcha,
Hello,
yes.
Gabby. Yeah, okay. How are you doing? How was that? A lot of pressure for that race or not really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've made it to the final in a straight shot yet, so I got to stop doing this. It puts unnecessary pressure because I feel like I definitely have the speed. I just somehow, somewhere or another, I keep ending up in the LCQ, but thankfully made it through, and in the points battle to hopefully get that 30K for the charity later on today.
Something we've been wondering about, what's your wheel attached to? Because it seems like it's just on like some metal that really moves around a lot. It doesn't seem very sturdy to us.
Show you guys. Yeah, this is it's an old chassis I got, I think, in like 2005, and it's where I built my first simulator. It's been with me all over the country, like 4 different homes I've moved, and it's not very sturdy with a direct drive wheel, but it does the job.
Okay, well, it's seemingly so, because it's another win, and we'll see you in the final.
Absolutely.
Okay, great to speak to Gabby Chavez, who, as he says, is up for the $30,000 that you get for as the winning pro driver in the Race All-Star Series, fully charged by Rocket Phones. But when we come back, we will have the grand final. But before then, it's the Legends Trophy Reverse Grid, also known as the Guaranteed Carnage race with really famous racing drivers. We'll see you for that in a couple of moments' time here on The Race.
Well, ultimately, we get what we wanted. Chavez makes it in. That puts our 4 protagonists in the title hunt for the pro drivers into the finals. So we've got a battle to watch for, even though it might be further down the field with the sim drivers at the front. Kijovsky and Wisniewski are the ones to watch. Pretty good race. Devlin DiFrancesco, I thought he was not making that corner at all. I thought he was into the wall and gets 2-1, gets out of it. Pretty impressive.
And he didn't even go that deep as well. He seemed to actually get the apex.
It looked like he had a stuck throttle. He just went when everyone else hit the brakes, like he was going to have a monster shunt, and somehow just stopped, made the corner, and he just made them. The others must have been braking very early, cautiously watching each other, and he just went for it, didn't he?
I guess you could say he went like a rocket. As I said, you guys have a chance to win one of these incredible phones. 3D screens on these. They're pretty nifty. I'll try and turn it on for you so you can actually see it. I don't know if my webcam will show it. I can see behind the world. I can see the moon. I can see everything. All you got to do is head over to their website, answer a skill testing question as it is. Who are the 2 Rocket Williams F1 drivers for 2020? And if you want to get a discount as well and just do it the old-fashioned way, you can put in the promo code RACEOFFER. So pretty cool to see them getting involved. Nonetheless, we've got the Legends race coming up, the reverse grids. And this is, as you say, the chaotic race, Jack.
Yeah, looking forward to this. I think that offer on the Rocket website is for the earbuds, I believe.
Good call. You're right. I think it's for the Bluetooth.
You know, just to be clear, Legends, reverse grid. Yeah, looking forward to this one. I think some of the Legends. It's weird. You always end up in this. I think some of the Legends are getting a bit frustrated with the first lap carnage. I know David Brabham was when we spoke to him earlier, but like all of them are getting frustrated. And they're all blaming everybody else. But at some point, like the responsibility has to come down to them, doesn't it? It's weird. Jolien, you must have had that at times when maybe in the junior careers where everybody thinks everyone's crazy, but it's everyone who's crashing into everyone. It's weird.
Yeah, I to be honest, you get it more in sim than in the real car, especially in single seaters, because your cars are that much more brittle. You snag a front wing, your race is done. Let alone have a massive pile up on the exit of turn 1. I did have it a couple of times, mainly in Monaco, but
that was a good one.
Yeah, it was a biggie, that one. Pretty much the entire field wiped out at turn 1 and red flag. But it's more a case for the sim. But these guys are struggling just to keep the car on track. Really, they're very difficult cars, the McLaren M23. So when they're fighting, especially at the start, all close together, there are going to be accidents, and it's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, the wire really step out so easily.
Due to correct, on the YouTube chat, wants to know whether these cars are available for download. You're not able to download the race mod with all the liveries and stuff, but Nürburgring's on there, the LMP3 car's on there, the McLaren M23's on there. All those things are available for you to go and download now on R Factor. Some may be paid, some may be free. I'm not 100% sure, but what you're seeing these guys race now, you can race at home on R Factor too.
Yeah, totally accessible. And of course, if you want to keep a track with what we're doing and all of those cars and races, follow us on social, hit subscribe down below, check out the website, the-race.com. And obviously We Are The Race on Twitter and Instagram, because there's going to be some announcements coming up in the next week as well about maybe what continues after this championship concludes. We've got lots more entertainment for you, but we still have lots more entertainment today. And this reverse grid is one of my favorites of the day because everyone was so close in the first race. We saw good charges through the fields, but now they have to do that if they're going to be starting near the back. Maybe Pirro gets redemption as well. We'll find out right after the break. So if I put my shirt on backwards, I would be going forwards for this race as we get back into the Races All-Star Series fully charged by Rocket phones. It's the reverse grid for the legends. Many of them who are at the front of this reverse grid found themselves probably going backwards in the last race. It's a battle of survival oftentimes for these guys, Jack, but now we get to see who really is got the elbows out to come through the field.
Yeah, and whether they can escape the carnage of coming through the field, because sometimes we can see someone start 15th, then they're second by the end of lap 1, but that doesn't mean that they've avoided the carnage because it's still yet to come, because you've got a driver with a little bit less pace up at the front. So these are good fun. I think the legends enjoy them unless they get wiped out, which they will, so they won't. But I'm really looking forward to this. And the McLarens, it's so interesting hearing the drivers saying these cars, you just don't know what they're going to do. And I think that's some of that is the nature of them being racing drivers and wanting that feel through their backside. But I think some of it is the nature of the car. You know, 1970s F1 cars are not the on-rail Formula One cars and prototypes of the modern day.
No, certainly not. They had downforce back then, but nothing compared to what you're used to, Julian, obviously, in all the formulas that you've been in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just particularly challenging the car. When we watch the racing, particularly when we go on board, you can just see the armfuls of opposite lock. It's not even slowing them down. It's just how the cars have to be driven. You see a big slide in the LMP3 car, or as Jack says, most modern cars, you're basically throwing away time with every correction. But these M23 McLarens, you've got to just be larging them around a little bit, because that can be how to get the best time out of them.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, you think of the drivers in the early 70s, and they were famous for their four-wheel drifts. You know, some drivers took it a bit too far, and they were told, you know, you'll be quicker if you come back a little bit more. But drifting was the way it happened.
There's no one that encapsulates that more than perhaps. I mean, I know I'm Canadian, but Gilles Villeneuve. Insane at getting a car across the finish line under all circumstances in those times. We're just about ready to start the race. Here is the grid. I was about to mention Petter Solberg, obviously in reverse. He's at the front. Maybe a chance for him to finally get a run in this All-Star Series. Helio Castroneves alongside, but it's going to be pretty exciting all the way through, Jack.
Really looking forward to this one. Petter Solberg on pole position. Keep your eye on Emerson Fittipaldi in 5th position. David Brabham is in 8th. And then we get towards the back of the grid and towards the front runners from earlier on. Juan Pablo Montoya, 12th on the grid. Jenson Button will be starting behind him. Petter Solberg on pole. Wait for the lights to get underway. Away we go in the Legends Trophy reverse grid. Castroneves doesn't get away well. Solberg gets away very well indeed. Dario Franchitti starting in 3rd place, sends it to the outside on the way down to the first corner. Can he avoid the chaos this time around? Looks as though he just about has. Oh, Tonio Liuzzi gets a hit. Does that allow Franchitti through and up into 2nd? No, not quite. Slots into 4th place. Everybody else pretty much safely through the first corner, although someone's had a mad spin halfway down the straight and collected someone, but Button just about managed to avoid it.
Yeah, I think that was Andy Prio getting caught up further back. Button coming through already into 13th, our pace man from the start. Here we go, move for 2nd. Liuzzi trying to get past Castroneves. Nice move up the inside. Is he too deep, though? Looking very close, and Franchitti was trying to get up the inside as well. And in all of it, Castroneves just slides back through. Great racing from these guys.
So we are on lap 1 of 6. And there you can see Adrian Fernandez in the inset in 5th position, trying to close down on Dario Franchitti. Petter Solberg leading the way. Castroneves 2nd. Tonio Liuzzi 3rd. Franchitti 4th. And then we've got Fernandez in 5th. And here comes Dario Franchitti in 4th position, right on the back of Tonio Liuzzi as they come up towards the left-hander. Liuzzi a little bit wide through the quick ride on the back straight. Franchitti tries the dummy. Super late on the brakes. Oh, that's carnage. Franchitti went for it. Took out Castroneves as well, but sort of makes the move stick, and Liuzzi's got a wheel on the gravel and he's round.
Yeah, went in too deep, couldn't turn him because Franchitti was there, and Liuzzi then, who got pretty much passed by Franchitti straight lining the chicane, manages to just catch the gravel and spin. Here we go, Franchitti on the inside of Castroneves, nice and late on the brakes, doesn't lock up, maybe had a bit of a whack on the side, but through into 2nd place. That's a big move, because he needs to try and eat into that 3-second lead that Petter Solberg's already built up.
So Petter Solberg in 1st place, as you say, 3 seconds ahead of Dario Franchitti. Helio Castroneves is in 3rd, Adrian Fernandez 4th, Juan Pablo Montoya 5th, Turner, Papis, Servia, Buttons up to 9th place, right behind Oriol Servia, the Spaniard, in their battle over 8th place. There's Juan Pablo Montoya passing Adrian Fernandez down at the hairpin.
You're going to have a go at me for talking about Montoya more, but he's up into 4th from 2nd last, and that was Button pointing the wrong way down at the hairpin. So our top 2 from the first race, Button has just gone back to where he started, right at the back, having won the earlier race. Montoya from 2nd last on the grid is up to 4th.
This is a look at what happened to Button then, down into the hairpin, sent it, whoa, and into Pirro. Oh, and Magnussen, that was Magnussen spinning around as well. So that was a different time.
Yeah, and that was Magnussen as well has been in the wars. He was 3rd earlier on. So both Button and Magnussen. To be honest, Jensen went in a bit hot for that hairpin. Here goes Montoya for third, past Castroneves. Castroneves really probably turning in there on Montoya and forcing himself wide onto the gravel. But yeah, I think Button really went in a bit too hot with all those cars just ahead and ended up clouting the side of someone. That wasn't his big spin though.
And now Emanuele Pirro is going past Tonio Liuzzi up the inside for 8th position. Liuzzi braver on the brakes than Pirro, though, around the outside as the two Italians duel it out. Button almost leaping over the curbing at turn 1. But Petter Solberg's lead is 2.5 seconds ahead of Dario Franchitti in 2nd place. Juan Pablo Montoya 3rd, Adrian Fernandez 4th, Turner in 5th, Castroneves, Papis, Liuzzi, Pirro and Button the top 10. So Button's back a bit in the top 10 now.
Yeah, having a very eventful race is Jensen. It's Solberg's having a really good drive here. At the moment, he's well, we haven't seen much of him, but he's just had a solid pace, and Franchitti's not made a big inroad in him right now. I'd be interested to see what Montoya, who has, in theory, better pace than the two ahead, what he can do. But Solberg, who we've not seen a lot of, and what we have seen hasn't been great, whether it's his own fault or technical glitches or pile-ups or anything else, but this is a great drive so far.
On board with Emerson Fittipaldi, running in 15th position and racing today with a heavy heart, one would imagine, because motorsport engineering legend Riccardo De Villa passed away today, and Riccardo was the designer for Emerson's own Formula One team in the 1970s. He had an incredible motorsport career, and most recently was running with the Nissan RJN team that were in charge of doing a lot of the Nissan GT Academy stuff, so worked with the likes of Jan Mardenborough, Wolfgang Reif in the Blancpain Endurance Series and other series around the world. So you can head to the-race.com for a detailed obituary and the great tribute to Riccardo on the-race.com. So we're all very sorry to hear that. For me personally, he was there when I was doing Blancpain GT, always happy to talk, and he and John Watson would share quite incredible stories from the 1970s. So sad to hear that news today. Emerson Fittipaldi out there racing still. As we turn our attention to Darren Turner in 5th place in the Leighton House tribute livery as he comes around the hairpin, trying to chase down Adrian Fernandez for 4th place. Dario Franchitti's only 1.7 seconds back from Petter Solberg, so that gap's coming down on lap 4 of 6.
Yeah, how can Solberg handle the pressure now? Because he'll see Franchitti getting there in his mirrors. Montoya's starting to get there as well, less than 3 seconds for the man in 3rd. So we might have a 3-way showdown in the last couple of laps with the faster drivers further back in 2nd and then 3rd.
There was Button sending one up the inside, so that was his spin at the hairpin then, and managed to get going again quite quickly. He was almost, he was helped around actually down at the hairpin to get back on his way, and he's in 8th place at the moment. And this is Turner getting past Fernandez, the two interlock wheels a little bit, and that allows Elio Castroneves to come past, and Button sideways sliding out of the final corner, trying to go around the outside of Tonio Liuzzi. Penultimate lap of the race.
Yeah, here we go, Turner and Castroneves down. Oh, that's not going to go well. Castroneves, the track just jinks out a little bit. He didn't fancy the grass route on the inside, moved to the left, found Darren Turner, and they're both into the wall at high speed. So, yeah, not ideal for them. They were both having a really good race there.
Lap 5 of 6. There is Jenson Button in the bottom left, chasing down Tonio Liuzzi as Emerson Fittipaldi, who we're on board with in the bottom right, tries to make his way up the order on the penultimate lap of this race. And, oh, what's going on here? Someone else is having a crash. I think that's Adrian Fernandez and Tonio Liuzzi coming together, which means Jenson Button gains another 2 places. So I think he might be up into 5th position now, Jenson Button. Darren Turner goes past the 2 of them that were in the gravel trap as well. Emanuele Pirro trying to climb back up the order. We're on board with Pirro in 10th spot as he comes up through the Schumacher S. And Franchitti's just 2/10 behind Solberg in the battle for the lead. So it's really kicking off there as well. Only a 1/10 of a second between them as they come up towards the chicane. And, oh, Franchitti threw it up the inside of the chicane as he did earlier on, and it's not gone well for him, and he slides away and towards the clutches of Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, Montoya now just 1.3 seconds away from Solberg, the race leader, with Franchitti equidistant. The top three then, 1 lap to go. Franchitti clearly reeled in Petter Solberg, but then got it a bit wrong at the chicane. And, well, an overzealous move for the lead, potentially, as he made a move similar on the first lap, didn't he, at the chicane, where he got it a bit brave and a bit wrong. But he's got to do it all over again. Just half a second, though, behind Solberg on the final lap.
On board with Juan Pablo Montoya, running in 3rd place, on the power, down towards the hairpin. Solberg looked a little bit wide on the run, down towards the right-hander. There is Juan Pablo Montoya, leaning back in the chair. Franchitti, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Nerfs Petter Solberg off, and now the two kart rivals from the late 90s are going wheel to wheel. Dario Franchitti ahead of Juan Pablo Montoya on the final lap of the race. Big slide from Franchitti. Montoya, does he fancy the inside? He goes for it. And Franchitti turns in. The two bang wheels still side by side. Franchitti still holds the inside. Montoya's going to get the run, though, down to the chicane on the final lap.
Great racing between the two. Montoya, one more major overtaking place. That's right now, through the right kink, into the chicane. Franchitti covers the inside, contact, and he's round.
Franchitti off, Franchitti in the wall. Franchitti back across the track. Franchitti facing backwards. Juan Pablo Montoya through the final turn, and he takes the win in the Legends Trophy reverse grid race. Petter Solberg has got up into 2nd. Marvellous drive from Jenson Button to climb back into 3rd place, into 2nd place. So where did Montoya go? Has Montoya been disqualified or something? Because he came across the line to win it, and now Solberg's won it. Well, we'll wait for the official results. Here comes Jan Magnussen across the line in 7th. But there's a lovely bit of carnage in the reverse grid race here in the race All-Star Series. The Legends Trophy across the line. Solberg, Castroneves, Franchitti, the top 3 according to the timing screens now. So we'll see what happens there. That was chaos.
Absolutely, yeah. Even at the end there, Franchitti into Solberg, then Franchitti and Montoya with one major corner to go, 2 corners of the race. And they're just hitting each other, basically. I don't know who's won. Montoya won on track. Solberg now, it says, has won. But has there been a glitch, or did Montoya get a DQ for something?
Yeah, because sometimes you can get disqualified in the game. We've seen it earlier on, maybe for a jump start or some such, if you don't serve the drive-through penalty. So we'll wait and see what happens when we get the final results. But at the moment, it looks as though it's Petter Solberg that has won the race. There we go. Elio Castroneves in 2nd. Dario Franchitti in 3rd position. Turner 4th. Pirro 5th. Montero. So what happened to Button in all of that? It's lovable chaos, isn't it, when these legends take to the track? Very, very busy 6 laps of racing, with Petter Solberg coming out on top after starting from pole position and leading most of the way until his collision with Dario Franchitti. And he then held on to take the win. Button looked like he'd done a great drive to recover back up into 3rd place. But we can now check in with the dramatic race of Dario Franchitti. Dario, there was, some robust racing out there, and you're ambitious with your overtakes.
Yeah, I hit Petter. He caught me by surprise how early he braked, and I ran at the back of him. Absolutely no excuse on that one at all. He had a little earlier in the race. I got alongside him going into the chicane, and he had a bit of a swipe at the side. But yeah, it was it was definitely robust. I don't know who was I involved with on the last lap that spun me around.
Juan Pablo.
Just like old times. So,
people want to know about your gloves, Dario, because what gloves are they? They look really quite big.
Yeah, they're all sort of 2013 gloves, Alpine Stars. I like the long glove, so yeah. Don't quite need the fireproof protection that they provide, so I made them a bit shorter, but without it, the wheel gets really, get a bit sweaty.
Thank you for joining us, Dario. Catch you later.
Thanks, boys.
So there's Dario Franchitti, and we can also speak to Petter Solberg, I believe. Petter, congratulations, a win. What a great race.
I had a very, very good start, and I was really good fun. And I must say that I started to be nervous on the couple of last laps. I did a couple of mistakes, and this circuit racing thing is very new, very new for me. But end of the day, it was great fun, and I missed out on qualifying again, and I'm getting better and better. So it should be really good fun on the next few races.
Yeah. Okay. Try qualifying next time. Good luck.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so there's Petter Solberg, then the winner of the Legends Trophy reverse grid. When we come back, we've got the grand final. There's $30,000 up for grabs for the top professional driver to donate to a charity of their choice. And for the top sim racer, with Erhan Yayovski leading the standings going into the final race, a chance to win a drive in a real Formula One simulator. Who's going to come out on top? We'll find out in a couple of minutes' time.
Well, I have to say, Petter Solberg, well done. I think the stewards might be looking over the results of that one, pending the Juan Pablo incident, pending the Franchitti incident. But Solberg finally gets something going his way. He's been having tough times, but I'm glad to see him smiling. I found out, by the way, his gloves last week. I was asking about the Canadian. Apparently, he had different gloves made for every race last year in the Rallycross. Those were just the ones he wore in Canada. Pretty cool. Who knew? I didn't.
How many pairs of gloves do you go through, Jolien, in your in like an F1 season?
No, you can. I think generally, you get a new set every 2 or 3 races. But so with gloves and boots are the sort of thing that you don't actually like to change. I didn't like to change too much anyway because they get snug. Overalls you go through a lot more. Underwear you go through a lot. But the gloves, they don't get too sweaty, and they just they just feel snug. When you have old ones.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I think as well. I think Jack's lagging out a little bit, but I think as well the cool thing is that I have one helmet that's painted that I have to baby, and I think F1 drivers get an allocation of something like 17 now in a season. So yeah, I imagine there's a lot of gear that's gone through. But I thought that was a cool touch to have a different flag on his gloves for every single race. Pretty cool race though, nonetheless. We did see some hard charging battles through the back, and Montoya obviously, pending that result and what the stewards decide, is a star of the reverse grid, you have to say, Jolien.
Yeah, from last to kind of win the race, basically. I don't know how he managed to get DQ or whatever happened, but he basically won the race. There was just so much chaos in the end, and I feel like quite a few of them were just like tiny errors of judgment in terms of the width of a car, the length of a car, not quite leaving enough space. And that last Franchitti Montoya one looked to be exactly that. The Franchitti Petter Solberg, I think Dario explained it pretty well. He just wasn't expecting that, tried to avoid it, and just actually ended up just careering into the back of Petter. Didn't matter because then he had an incident with Juan Pablo and Petter came back through to win. So justice was done.
Jolien, it's like it's karma. You'd know all about that, wouldn't you?
It happens. Karma happens. And you know what? I'm actually pleased that Petter won after Jack Nicholls rudely stopped him qualifying for round 1.
Wasn't that Matt? I thought that was Matt. Was that not Matt? I feel like it was Matt's fault.
My fault.
Past the buck. Yeah. I think it was you. You were nattering. You were nattering. You were whittling on Jack. And quite frankly, I was disgusted. And so was Petter Solberg. So we're all happy he's won here today.
Well, nonetheless, we do have to look forward a little bit. The final coming up of the championship. It's been 3 rounds of great action. Erhan Yayovski has been the class of the field, winning as well as those 2 races, the previous 2 races, but also the qualifier today. He leads with a pretty healthy margin, 14 points over Nikodem Vineski, in second place. Bono Huis didn't actually qualify, so his chances are gone, null and void, but the pro drivers are wide open, Jack.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really tight. Chavez, Epps, Gunther, you have to say are the 3 to watch out for. Gutierrez lurking in there, but he's going to have to outbeat the top of 3 of the 3 of them pretty strongly. And Dennis Lind not racing this weekend. So Yayovski basically Wisniewski needs to win and hope Yayovski is 6th or lower. So that's going to be a really, really tough ask, isn't it? Bono Huis not through to the final, so just between those 2. And that Chavez, Epps, Gutierrez battle is going to be great.
Well, after 3 rounds of championship battle, I say 3 rounds, 2.5 really, we get to the final, and it is going to be the Race All-Star Series, fully charged by Rocket Phones, crowning a champion. 2, in fact. Today, our sim racers are battling for a spot or a test in an F1 simulator, an official F1 simulator. Right now, it's Erhan Yayovsky that leads that, but our pro drivers are also battling for $30,000 to a donation of their choice, a charity of their choice, and there's 3 tied for the lead, but ultimately 4, maybe even 5 that could have had a chance coming into this. Obviously, Dennis Lind didn't get a chance to go forward with that today, but it's wide open, Julian.
Yeah, completely. Really, for Gutierrez to get it, he needs to be beating a sim driver in this one as well, and he needs maybe help from his Mercedes stablemate, Stoffel Van Dorn, who has won his heat and looked really good. So Van Dorn's not really in contention here, but he can put himself between Epps, Chavez, and Gunther and help out Gutierrez potentially. But between the other 3, whoever comes out on top wins the championship.
And the interesting thing is that despite the order that they qualified in from the previous races, we still have a qualifying session for this, which is on right now. We're going to jump into it because this determines the order. And as you say, someone like Van Dorn, who necessarily isn't in the championship hunt, if he gets a good lap in here, he might be able to mix it in. Right now, we're watching Yayovsky. He had pole in the first race and a win in the qualifier, the man to beat.
Across the line, and it's a 1 minute 34.380 for Yayovsky. Immediately 2 tenths quicker than Ziggy, 3 tenths quicker than Wisniewski, 4 tenths quicker than Van Dorn. So very much as you expected from Erhan Yayovsky, straight out the blocks.
Yeah, great lap then, straight into provisional pole. Ziggy is close. Van Dorn's done a great lap to be up in 4th. So really impressive from him right now.
Here comes Gifayet through the final corner now and out across the line. Takes all the speed, runs up over the curve, across the line, and it is 13th place for Nikodem Wisniewski. Here he is on his second lap, but he's a 10th down in Sector 1. Wisniewski, not a great run. Here he comes now towards the fast right-hander and then up the wall towards the chicane. You can see Yayovsky is chasing him down. Well, metaphorically as well as in reality, as they come through the final corner almost together. This is going to be a really quick switch of lap times. I think Wisniewski's going to go across the line first, and he goes second. Not good enough to beat Yayovsky. Yayovsky doesn't seem to improve. He remains on provisional pole position. Tom Ingram across the line. And he slots into 9th place. Guerrieri across the line in 14th place, but it's Yayovsky who takes pole position. Wisniewski second, Ziggy third. So Erhan Yayovsky, if he wins the race, if he finishes in the top 5, then he wins the title, whatever happens, and the chance to win or the chance to drive a real Formula 1 simulator. Erhan Yayovsky on pole, Nikodem Wisniewski alongside him on the front row of the grid, the 2 title protagonists. Stoffel Van Dorn, the top of the real-life races, he's in 5th position. Kuba Brzezinski 6th, Terzic 7th, Max Gunther in 8th spot. Gabby Chavez, quite a long way down the order. James Collado in 11th spot. Bradley Smith in 12th position. Esteban Gutierrez there, completed the top 10. Gabby Chavez 13th. This is going to be a really, really fascinating fight for the Professional Drivers' Championship. And then we've got Job van Ooyt at 17th, Sebastian Montoya 18th, Harry Tincknell 19th, and Harry Newey completing the top 20. So, 14 points separate Yayovsky and Wisniewski. They are together on the front row of the grid. Epps, Gunther and Chavez are all tied in the battle for the lead in the pro standings as the Race All-Star Series final gets underway. It's a good start from Wisniewski, you know. He might have the inside line here, and he might be into the lead of the race. Yayovsky tries to hold it around the outside. The 2 go wheel to wheel. and Yayovsky just holds on in front, and Kevin Siggy gets through. This is Gabby Chavez getting pushed out a little bit further back in the order, but Yayovsky leads 2 tenths ahead of Wisniewski, who gets back past Kevin Siggy. The two are side by side for second place. And Siggy, I think, has managed to hold on. Epps is up into 5th position. That would give him the win in the professional drivers' standings if it remains like this. But it is Yayovsky leading, Siggy 2nd, Wisniewski 3rd, and 4th is Stoffel van Dorn.
So we've got both Van Dorn and Epps ahead of Terzic and Brzezinski. They've done really well, the pro drivers, to get in amongst it at the front. Yayovsky did really well to hold on there around the outside of turn 1. Wisniewski had a great chance to take the lead, which he had to do to try and win the championship. And now Yayovsky's off already 6 tenths up the road. And Wisniewski's got Kevin Siggy in front as well.
So there is Yayovsky out in front. Mike Epps, as it stands, would win the professional racing drivers battle, which would give him $30,000 to the charity of his choice. Up into the chicane. Whoa, someone really hot into there. Was that Terzic, I think, trying to make a move? Yefeyer further back, but Yayovsky it is leading. Oh, that's a big moment. Yefeyer's bouncing over the curbs on the inside as he gets overtaken. And is that Gabby Chavez pulling off in the background? I think the race might be over for Chavez.
I don't think that was Chavez. Chavez is down in 12th, though. He's got a lot of work to do. This battle here is close, and Epps is going to get past here by Terzic. He's bottled up behind Van Dorn. Now Terzic has the inside. Epps gives him a squeeze and actually might be able to hang on. No, late on the brakes. Terzic up the inside. Still Epps is there, but oh no, that's all gone wrong. Epps and Terzic side by side through too many corners, and in the end Terzic is spun round.
Terzic in the gravel, down to 13th place, and Harry Newey seems to be visiting an accident further back.
Gunther's passed Epps. Gunther's passed Epps in all of that, and that's for the title.
Yes, good spot. So Gunther up into 5th position. Epps had more drama than we saw, and he's dropped well down the order into 9th place now. We're on board with Gabby Chavez in 10th. So Chavez, is now, well, quite a long way from the title because it's all about Max Gunther. Gabby Chavez and Mike Epps are going wheel to wheel. But it's not for the title win because Max Gunther's managed to find himself in 5th place.
He's now 6th because Brzezinski's come through, but he's now got a nice, well, he's got a 7/10 buffer to James Collado and then Esteban Gutierrez, who might yet haul himself in if anything happens to Max Gunther. But Mike Epps there getting into the side of Alan Terzic, and that's cost him massively.
On board with Gabby Chavez, he's going to gain a couple of places here. He's going to get past Esteban Gutierrez. So Gutierrez, Epps and Chavez, the three of the title protagonists. But Max Gunther up in 6th position is currently well clear of all of this squabbling as they get onto the brakes. I say well clear. It's only James Collado in between these three and Max Gunther. But Gunther has a little bit of breathing space on lap 3 of 10. The final race, double the distance in the race All-Star Series, fully charged by rocket phones as we go on board further back with Esteban Gurrieri trying to get through Tincknell, and literally through Tincknell, but can't quite do it.
No, that's where Terzic and Epps came to blows last lap. But now Epps is still ahead of Chavez, which is still critical because they're tied on points. Chavez got in hot, and that should allow us. Bradley Smith now up behind, so Gutierrez has dropped even further back. And now Chavez, that's really costly for him, that mistake. He loses ground to Epps and he might get taken out. No, Van Uytert's very respectful through the high speed there. But yeah, bad news for him. Now Epps needs to get his head down and pass James Collado as soon as possible and try and get onto the back of Gunther.
Lap 3 of 10. Erhan Yayovsky is leading the way. Kevin Siggy 1.3 seconds further back in 2nd position. 3rd is Nikodem Wisniewski. 4th is Stoffel van Dorn. 5th is Kuba Brzezinski. 6th is the man in position to win the title, Max Gunther, with James Collado in 7th. But here's Erhan Yayovsky. The last 3 weeks have just been astonishing for Yayovsky, and we spent a good 45 minutes or so, Claire Cottingham, myself and Jan Magnussen, talking with Erhan Yayovsky in the week on the Race Esports podcast that you can download from all podcasting places. I think that's our 4th episode now. We're doing another one tomorrow. So, yeah, for all your esports news, head there and download it, because it's all right. Yayovsky leading, Siggy second, Wisniewski third, Van Dorn fourth, Brzezinski fifth.
Chavez, insert bottom right, all over the back of Bradley Smith, trying to regain some ground that he lost earlier on.
No! Chavez. Was that Chavez chucking it?
No,
or
Terzic,
Chavez getting chucked out
on the recovery, and he's dropped it trying to pass Chavez, I think. So Terzic has gone from bad to worse there, and Chavez survives in 10th, still just half a second behind Bradley Smith.
Lap 4 of 10. Yayovsky 2 seconds up the road from Siggy, who is 7/10 ahead of Wisniewski. Van Dorn 4th, Brzezinski 5th. Gunther, Collado, Epps, Smith and Chavez, the rest of the top 10 on lap 4 of 10. And we've got Yayovsky leading the way. Here's a look at the replay then, on board with Alan Terzic, coming down into turn 3, and, well, never on.
Too ambitious, not really a big braking zone at all, and he's tried to send a lunge in there. That wasn't going to happen, and that was actually a similar move to what he tried on Mike Epps earlier on. But Epps, the Epps move was more on, the door was more open, and then they came to blows on the next right-hander. But Terzic, their 2 incidents are pretty much the same corner.
Fayette in 15th place, trying to make some moves. He's just ahead of Tom Ingram at the moment, and runs a little wide. There you can see him on the inset. He's under pressure from behind as they come across the line. And, that was a very late cover. I thought there was definitely going to be a crash there. Yefeyer's gone in super deep, though, into turn 1, and then goes round. So that's all gone bad.
Yeah, just touched the gravel with the left rear there as he accelerated out of turn 1 and lost all traction and had a little spin. Right, Chavez has gone missing. Gutierrez is up into 10th. What's happened to Chavez? He's down in 15th. That may well 14th, dicing with Newey, but he's gone missing from what was 10th position. So that's bad news for him and his championship hopes. What's happening with Mike Epps? He's closing. He's only a second and a half off Gunther, with Collado still there as well.
Yeah, that's going to get a little bit tight, isn't it? If Epps can continue this kind of pace, how quickly going to get past James Collado to try and challenge Max Gunther in front. Lap 5 of 10, so we are almost at the half race distance. It's all a little bit sort of calmer in the final, isn't it? It's nice, and you get into the rhythm of the race a little more.
Yeah, I'm not finding this too calm, to be honest. Between all the championship deciders in the pro category, in the outright, Erhan Yayovsky's got this really sorted right now. He's so quick in these cars. Here's Yeffier going for a move. Is that on Terzic? I think it might be. Just drives them both across the gravel, and that's one way to get past at the chicane.
Lap 6 of 10, half race distance. Erhan Yayovsky leading the way. And then we've got James Collado here now battling with Epps. Epps needs to get past Collado and then up and past Gunther if he wants to win the title. Although, having said that, let me just look at because Gunther, is level on points with Epps, so he does need to get up past and ahead in the last 5 laps of the race. And getting past Collado, I think, is doable, but then catching up to Gunther, he's quite a way away, I have to say.
He's not all that far away, but he's got to pass Collado without losing too much time here. That's going to be critical. He's so close behind Collado now, up through the sweepers, left, right, very quick, then a bit more of a break, and another left, right. Then he's into that back straight. He's so close, look, behind. He's getting a bit of dirty air now, and this is costing them both. That blue car in front is Max Gunther, the man that is set to take the title in the pro category. But Epps has pace. If he can just clear Collado, he might be able to have a bit of a charge yet at Max Gunther in 6th place.
He needs to get past as soon as possible. Does Mike Epps right on the back of Collado? It's got to be this time into turn 1, hasn't it, to have any chance? Maybe, but to the final corner, Collado goes a bit wide. There's the chance for Epps up the inside. So now it is just a head-to-head fight. Across the line comes Max Gunther, running in 6th place. 2 seconds back is Mike Epps. If Epps can close in and pass him, he's going to win the title. Harry Newey's in the wall in a big way.
Yeah, so back to this fight, though. 6th and 7th, Gunther and Epps. Epps was in this position. He was flying up in 4th place until he had that contact with Terzic. Dropped back. Now he's still got pace, and he's got no more cars in between him and Max Gunther. And I mean, there's pressure now on both. They probably will be aware of the I'm sure they'll be aware of the situation. And if anything happens between the two of them, then Gutierrez could yet win the title because Chavez is nowhere near him. So it's all to play for still.
Lap 7 of 10. Here's a replay of Harry Newey's moment up at the chicane. Is he going to get a hit or is he going to get on the grass? Oh, neither.
Just lost it on the exit of the chicane there, Newey. And round and into the wall. That's a shame for him. Right, there's Epps. There's Collado, 7th and 8th. The gap not really coming down just yet, though. Still 2 seconds and only 3 laps remaining. It's a bit of tyre life now can come into it as well. The longer race, you never know what effect that can have.
And the tyres do go away, actually. After I found yesterday 6 or 7 laps, and you're starting to go quite noticeably slower. So 10 laps, you are going to have a lack of grip compared to previously. We're watching Erhan Yayovski in the bottom left, the Macedonian coming through the first couple of corners and then down towards the left-hander again at turn 3. 1.7 seconds up the road from Kevin Sicki. Nikodem Wisniewski in third, not able to get close to Yayovski. Yayovski's going to win all the races, and we had, what, 4 winners in the first 4 races of the race All-Star series, but now we've had Yayovski win 3 of the last 3.
Yeah, well, Yayovski made it 5 from 5. When he took his first win, which was the first race in this car, he made it 5 from 5, but then he's made it 5 from 6 and 5 from 7 straight away. He's so dialed in this car.
Here he is, Erhan Yayovski.
Tell you what, though, Van Dorn's having a super race.
Yeah.
Van Dorn is miles clear of Brzezinski still, and he's lapping at a similar pace to these sim racers that are either side of him. Cracking drive from Stoffel.
Yeah, really good stuff as Yayovski comes up to start the penultimate lap of the race. Through the left and the right, up at the chicane, then into the final corner. A 1.6 second advantage over Kevin Sicki, who's got Nikodem Wisniewski right behind him. Wisniewski hasn't had the pace to really challenge Yayovski at all today. Can he get a second place? He'll be satisfied, I think, with a podium. There you see the Williams eSports driver in the bottom left. Onto the brakes, down into turn 1. Penultimate lap of the race. Now, what's Gunther and Epps up to? Well, it's come down a bit, but also not really.
1.8 seconds, not enough for Mike Epps. Oh, he must be so frustrated because when he had that contact early on, there were many cars between him and his nearest rival, Max Gunther. Chavez was nowhere, managed to get himself into some point of relevance in the top 10, but has since returned to nowhere. And then Gutierrez has never really been in the fight. It was Epps who had it to lose, and right now it looks like he's lost it. Still a couple of laps to go, lap and a half.
Yayovski leading. This is Nikodem Wisniewski that we're on board with in the bottom right and the bottom left as he fights the car up towards the left-hander of turn 3. Turn 3? What am I talking about? He's much further around the lap than that. Now coming out onto the back straight on the penultimate lap of the race. There we can see Kevin Sicki in the bottom left with all the lights off as he focuses on the screen in front of him. Interesting, some sim racers want all the lights off, so they just focus on the screen. Others find that sort of is a bit, kind of too intense on their eyes almost. If you're just watching, a screen in darkness the whole time. Out onto the back straight they come. Wisniewski's got a shot here, hasn't he?
Yep, really good shot, and probably his last shot into the main overtaking place for the final time. Sicki covers it though, middle of the road. And Wisniewski now needs to look further around. Makes a nice apex, though. Oh, bit of contact.
Yeah, they hit each other, and Wisniewski loses a bit of momentum. So it's Erhan Yayovski who, because of that, gets a little bit larger a lead. It's still 2 seconds between Max Gunther and Mike Epps as we come onto the final lap of the race in the Race All-Star Series. Fully charged by rocket phones, and Erhan Yayovski looks like he's going to win the chance to drive a Formula One simulator. A finalist in the world's fastest gamer last year. World's Fastest Gamer 3 is available now for to download via Gear Club on iOS and Android, so get involved in that if you really want to get into sim racing. Under the ABK Beer Bridge for the final time, Yayovsky, I mean, I'm running out of words for this guy. He was touted as a front runner coming into the race Australian Grand Prix weekend, 9 weeks ago, but never was quite there. But then in the last 3 weeks, once we moved to these LMP3 Le Mans prototypes cars, he has absolutely dominated. Erhan Yayovsky through the final corner into the right-hander, and the Macedonian is going to win the chance to drive a Formula One simulator as he wins the race and wins the championship with a clean sweep in the race All-Star Series, fully charged by rocket phones. Here's Bradley Smith in 9th, but it's Max Gunther in 6th, who's going to come across the line to win $30,000 to donate to the charity of his choice. Great work from Max Gunther over the last couple of weeks. Mike Epps pushed him all the way, finishing in 7th place. Collado 8th, Smith 9th, and Esteban Gutierrez completing the top 10. But there's Max Gunther in 6th spot after a good drive, sort of out of nowhere, Jolien.
Yeah, he kept himself out of trouble. That was the main thing. Picked up the pieces. Qualifying wasn't perfect for him, but he just managed to keep consistent and beat Mike Epps, which was basically his job.
Erhan Yayovsky wins the race, wins the title. Siggy second, Nikodem Wisniewski third, and let's join Erhan Yayovsky now. Another win. 3 races, Erhan, in this series. 3 wins. What an unbelievable performance. Are you surprised by yourself?
Oh, I'm not surprised, to be honest. I gave everything on the track today. It was much tougher than the previous weeks because Kevin and Nikodem were on my tail the whole race. So, yeah, I'm a bit speechless, as you know.
So what about the prize of winning a Formula One simulator experience?
Yeah, I'm a bit speechless about it. So it's quite unbelievable right now.
Great. Congratulations, Erhan. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
So Erhan Yayovsky, the winner of the race All-Star Series, fully charged by rocket phones, this edition at least, because hopefully you'll be joining us in the future for more action from the race. And a huge shout out to Max Gunther, who wins $30,000 as the top professional race driver in the series, and that gets donated to a charity of his choice. Jensen Button has already donated $10,000 today to the charity of his choice. When we come back, we'll have all the reaction from Erhan Yayovsky winning the race All-Star Series, fully charged by rocket phones. See you in a couple of moments.
We said consistency would be key for the sim drivers. I don't think we necessarily meant having 5 winners from 5 races, that we expected him to sweep it. That is a remarkable job from Erhan Yayovsky, world's fastest gamer finalist last season. And apparently he was saying in an interview, it may have even been on the podcast, that his experience with guys like Jan Maddenborough, Rudy Van Buren, Juan Pablo Montoya, that it helped him even back in the sim world, going from that real life experience he had in California at tracks like Laguna Seca and Willow Springs to get back in the sim and have a different focus. And obviously that's paying off. That is a huge win. 3 straight wins in this field is ridiculously good, Jillian.
Yeah, super impressive. And he just dominated from race 1. I'm quite impressed, I should say, with that interview, Jack, actually. For a man that was running out of words to say about him, interviewing a man that was just entirely speechless, you got through. You got through it all right there.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I think the amazing thing with Erhan is that he just, like you say, came out of nowhere. He was always one of the front runners. When you looked at him, Siggy, Wisniewski, you knew they were going to be up there. Bono Huis as well, but then he just tore them all apart once it became a series. Whether it's once we move to these LMP3 cars, if we change cars in the future, will he be as strong? Because he said on the podcast, which you can download, the Race Esports podcast, download it now, please, and you'll hear him say that the car just suited him sort of as soon as he got in it.
It's interesting because at the start of this series, he wasn't on my radar. Yayovsky, he'd been sort of erratically quick, but I thought this was a Rudy Van Buren against Kevin Siggy, maybe a Bono Huis. And Yayovsky has just taken it by the scruff of the neck, and no one's been close the whole time. He's just, this has obviously suited him down to the ground. But next time, maybe a different car, different tracks, and it can all change.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this car is absolutely responsible for that. The other thing with him, cool, is obviously from Macedonia, there's not a lot of racing in that region. So Sim has been his connection to this world, and what an opportunity he's taken and made for himself by doing that. Like I say, world's fastest skater before, winning all of these, but also just finding a talent within himself through motorsport, through Sim, which is pretty cool. I believe we have an updated leaderboard, so this will give us the official confirmation. Obviously, I've been focusing on Erhan. Maximilian Gunther, remarkable for him as well. I had him as kind of the outsider of Mike Epps and Gabby Chavez. And Epps, I think, made this far too difficult for himself. He loses by 1 point, contact early on, and as fast as he was, there was a lot of contact for him over the last 3 weeks. I think it's fair to say, Gillian.
Yeah, well, that Sebring weekend was just notorious pretty much for contact, particularly with Mike Epps. The whole way he was getting more and more wound up by it. And then he said last week that he'd taken the targets off the back. Well, in the end, the contact has cost him. He's probably been quicker than Gunther, but it's the contact through probably those two race days that has just left him 1 point short. I mean, they've both done great jobs, and hopefully we'll be back for next time. But ultimately he had this one in the bag until he got into the side of Alan Terzic, and they both ended badly, basically.
Well, with that, don't forget as well to check out all of the social media, because we'll update you with the results. I'm sure there'll be highlights from today's race. You can do that by subscribing down below. Again, checking out the website, the-race.com, and We Are The Race on Twitter and Instagram, as well as what's going to happen next, because this championship may have just concluded, but there's another coming up. We'll see in just a second what that's going to be. What an incredible results and an incredible victory from Erhan Yayovsky in the Race All-Star Series, brought to you and fully charged by Rocket Phones. But there's another winner as well, and this one has to do with charity. The real winner, Maximilian Gunther, an incredible performance. I think he's standing by, Jack, for an interview with you, because he was kind of the dark horse of the top three.
Yeah, let's speak to Max Gunther now. Max, into that last race, in the early laps, you didn't really seem like you were right in it, and then bam, suddenly you're right up there. What happened?
I just came from the Formula E race, so there was not a lot of time to do many laps, but I qualified quite well in the top 8. And then, I was there in P7, and the guys in front of me have been fighting a lot, and I could make profit of that. And then, afterwards, just try to drive as quick as I can, as consistent as I can. And of course, I'm really happy and satisfied for P3 in the overall standings, and most importantly, to won the prize for the foundation, where I want to donate the money, support this foundation, and really happy for that.
Have you chosen where you're going to donate the money?
Exactly. So I want to spend the money to the foundation of Verena Januszke. It's a foundation for children who grew up under difficult conditions, under violence. They've not been treated well, and I think it's it's a foundation I've chosen, and I'm really happy to donate all this money to them, and to support them with what I can do.
Great, thank you very much, Max. Congratulations, a great few weeks of racing from you.
Thank you very much. It was really good fun, and thanks for the great championship.
No worries. Catch you later. Max Gunther then donating it to a children's charity. Great to hear. Great drive. He's winning everything. Won the Formula E race earlier on that he said he was didn't get much practice into this for, because he was doing that. He was winning that. So really, really talented sim racer here, Max Gunther.
Yeah, super impressive that he was able to balance both. I know guys like Max Verstappen have said they're not going to do multiple games. they're not going to focus on too many things because they want to be sharp in what they're in. He's able to do different games, different series, and still be super competitive, which is a skill in its own right. It's a very adaptable driver. And obviously, should things get back underway in the real world, he's in a good position in Formula E this year as well. So hope for the best for him in that regard. Great charity as well, I think. That's a very noble cause to donate to people less fortunate per se. But yeah, hopefully we do get another championship, Julian. That one was a lot of fun so far.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, we just saw it had great battles the whole way through. Different tracks, very different tracks. Sebring, Lime Rock last time out, and then this Nürburgring track. The same winner pretty much all the time, Erhan Yayovski. But next time, different cars, different tracks, different drivers. Who knows? And I'm looking forward to it.
Highlight of the day for me, I think drama could be part of it. Huis not making it through, Epps contact, but Devlin Di Francesco's double pass maybe highlights as one of the moves.
Yeah, just all of the racing today. Really, really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it over the last 3 weeks, over the last 6 weeks, however long we've been doing this now. It's been great wheel to wheel stuff, and it's brilliant seeing the cars and the sim races in particular going wheel to wheel, and I can't wait for more of that.
Well, we'll take a look at the leaderboard just to give you the finalized results. But as I said before, follow the social medias because despite that Erhan Yayovski won this one and an incredible prize of testing an F1 simulator, we've got more coming up. We'll get the details out to you very, very soon because all of that will be released on Twitter. They're still finalizing some of it. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be more entertainment. That's the main thing. Guys, from me, thanks so much. It's been fun working with you guys. I can't wait to do it again. And I don't know, final words maybe just quickly.
Bye. It's been great.
Well, that sums it up. Thanks so much for joining us on the Race All-Star Series, fully charged by Rocket Phones. We'll see you for the next one in hopefully a week's time. Contact.
Welcome to the race.
And the lights are out. Great start then.
The Moto2 champion steps into the team that's dominating the championship.
I'm Scott Mitchell from the race. We're here at Barcelona.
Sebastian Vettel is fighting for his career.
There has to be a title assault, and anything less will be a failure.
Oh, and a spin!
We're off to go, bro.